medru 40 million pounds. O convert it at the bar the current rate cry you say dollar exchange rate nya hoden kakra impo. It will hover around 600 to 700 million Ghana cedis.
Almost $1 billion Ghana.
Almost $1 billion Ghana cedis for UK alone.
Hey.
For UK in Kwa. Oshe baby to say US me call her and say a canso balloon ekeka almost $10 million. Ekeka almost $10 million. As at December, American was in Canada near the Omoka 11 million Ghana cedis. 11 million abaluno because we are December 2024. We are now in June, but abaluno. Over Cuba so near the Omoka $4.25 million. That time no now rate near almost 62 million Ghana cedis. Algeria yedeka, Morocco yedeka, Russia yedeka, Serbia yedeka, France yedeka ama program no promotion. Hungary yedeka, Benin yedeka, Togo yedeka, Spain yedeka. Togo on say year abroad program. Omo musua French, omo specialize in French. They are now omo ko Benin ni Togo kusua are there for 1 year as part of the academic program. And also so ye sidi no kura so chen omo na ye sefa no. Ye san de ka o Togo ni Benin. Disability.
Say Ghana for kusua de o Togo.
On say
buy am omo scholarship. And Ghana the Togo ka.
Ye the Togo ka. And no kura ye sefa na ye sidi no wa hoden chen no. E also so ye de ka. Disability grant. On say you saw disability for no mo school no asene. And also so the last time I we na 1.9 million Ghana cedis. Echo 2 million Ghana cedis. Ye de omoka. Thesis and bursaries for grassack for no. Ye de ka. Physicians and surgeons. Ye de ka. Babia ye de ka.
You come ma totally now.
Totally the we as at December na 830 something million. But then the updated figure na me mabeto so sisi na me no de year adwuma na make say ofa UK de no nko run over 600 they cost 700 million. I know yeah the current rate, but the last time I checked with the 19 or the 20 na 800 and something million.
And the UK nko
and the UK nko US de so danchen and na de mabobo so nyina so danchen enti edumre bi ma UK institutions na ye say omonje yeah scholarship your beneficiaries bill so pay school UK now de yeah letter ko say yeah na ye hwa omo so omonje e na metena se adwene hu say no ye tena o ma UK for massa statement where very public e be affected the reputation of Ghana. And so I conferred with the chief of staff then, so they told us not to add more to the liabilities we have already, meaning yemfo bi anko UK no for this year. Inti me call UK no. Ye share management of the various institutions na me announce say as a matter of policy, yemfa student bi amma for this year. Said the bear you bit me rationalize the kana e da house here. Inti me call UK what I did, they said me share about 24 universities. I couldn't have met all because now we are working with over 86. I scattered will be our be free by letter. But going forward, I believe that we must. I was saying to streamline on new institutions and no more in every country. See, your submitted payment plans are more. Ebi mo any nje ho. Ebi mo so agye atum, mo ma agye atum no nyame yadoma within week 14 working days be I was saying it me effective payment for the first commitment. Then we do another one around August September. Then we do the last one in November. Until I'm hoping say pressure no be come from kakra. Some of the schools are here say omo treat students kama. Ebi mo so feel say previously no sa na da we and the den e course so until omo visited the sins of the past administration on this current regime. Until that is for a car situation. I will update you with the current figures when I get to the office. What they told her, Adia Bakwa, a dear, also Busa, my question be said, Omo Henfa, Omo Makusia, a car we have that Ghana so no way. Usually, a movie or program now. No more apply for a dear friend in no objection letter. No objection letter, Mammy Trim no be anti. No objection letter, nature say. Captain, scholarship secretariat, as sponsor captain, so Kusunya Adjei. You are born hooker. You are born hooker. Usually you are bonded. Oh, qua, your mouse sign bond, so we are holding Indiana by war, my Ghana. after say abonding no one we school no say opeso oboa bruni na mum opeso obeba Ghana beboa Ghana man enti sa dia ye intro letter your friend no objection just say ye ni objection bia say opeso tena ho no oboa bruni ase kira no
abra ye de esika
abra ye na ye de esika ahwe no e no ma issue no objection na me ma me mo enti omo te amano ne woko yuka bebia we school te ho omo bi mu akofo omo nuanom no omo yire no ho no omo te omo bobra meaning say sika na ye de hwe no ahye I to say your terms you can ye mum di develop talents to go and contribute to the white man's economy. Captain Adie we dey say nyansa bia nim. Eno na me buy am say Adie we dey me ntiase was a streamliner na microphobia kwahye students na chi person mo ya agitation. But for how long any betimi terms ka say je na emfa mo ho kana kosua ade. Okoye na wo se o ma biu o tena broni krom to contribute to ono no GDP no to contribute to ono no economy no o kan omo se o ye send remittances na captain remittances ne de brew ana de brew me maame akoso Asofo Adjei utu kwan kwa monane nkwa na ate na ya adwuma you remit anyway it is not because of the scholarship.
That's right.
O ti ho na wo ya adwuma o be pese o be send o maame bibi o be pese o be send wo nua bibi o yere wo ha o be send ni bibi. So when you are remitting you are not remitting because
when you are
scholarship omo need scholarship now they remit and they do it because it is their responsibility.
That's right.
So you are not remitting because you were on scholarship. So that argument a moot a need
fall flat.
What you are saying. And there was a say and going for this is the proposal that when I get there I will expand it more. You are get fund education minister. We have the view say any minister Pablo. We have the view say we should create a fund. Say obeje scholarship now kokosua de. Na do pempen so na so person tina broni krom boa broni dia. The amount we spent on you becomes a loan. Enti adwuma na wanya wo koye na wo pay no objection na the amount. Then you will be remitting into the Ghana scholarship fund.
Okay. Because what je sika and our kosua de I was on the boa my Ghana o se wo ma
ntutu sika mai but ye ngini boom because e bia na fe no wa start wadwuma ti e bia boso no bia ye wo de obetua ana o employer no e beti de ato scholarship
from so
yes so we work with the embassies. We are going to work with the embassies.
Super.
So aba enti eno no na me kobo so ye be sika because otherwise e be to say we are just throwing money away. So say also better broni krom now this can ba any akonya wo ho a ye betimi de aboa foforo no person no so kosua de no ba Ghana.
That's right.
So it only makes sense say ye be ye bibi sa say de be ya enye say time bia ban is just throwing away money abra ye nya so mfa so bia. Number 2 meme time idie nyabe ya aduma from next year programmer e available in Ghana untimi nkoye e wa amanone.
What's say?
Programmer available in Ghana. Untimi enkoye waman. Untimi mbase yen spend dollars, yen spend pounds, yen spend euros.
Enkoye dressmaking
on you. Adan okoye political science. Adan okoye MBA. Adan
ebi nkoye political science.
Oh, nursing na manfo ko. Enti imagine say 40 million pounds ya American. Senka a company de Ghana for institutions car. This money would have still been in the economy. Nanka many abra me pese mitua free way na joma amada roma o se Asofo Adjei allocation we for to yakana sa sika no be ko Ghanaian institutions for and they can use that same money to expand on their infrastructure and get the equipment that are needed for how long na ebeja school was say papa nti da bi e ko broni krom na akosua de but specializations under medicine ne nursing de we betimi akoye ko ye was skill bi obi ana ye ni wa ha Upese oko Russia na okosua na de beboa no problem. Upese oko US na okosua de beboa no problem. There are some exceptions. Also omode no time bia no economy so we can look at that. But for programs to say
political science.
Why must we spend unim say unua bia political science. 4 years ni onya adwuma. Also so san koye political science wo US aba. Na adwuma no ubenya we. Ana capture them MBA amafo krekre bi o matena fie ko 10 years o mu ne adwuma ye
enti program bi wo Ghana ha no
do it here we your best sponsor enti your local tertiary scholarship for bosumi we mu ye be launch enti no your focus pa law medicine engineering technology, AI, robotics, those areas.
Ewo
Ghana ha. Inti your university so bebre ba omo yes a course so no. Inti eno na ye be prioritize.
Ye ne Ghana ha ya.
O de ye ne Ghana ha. Na ye nyina memeti we a ye de adwuma kakra ka hye me say. Captain, University of Ghana me ho na mako CAF University. Mako UDS. Na se mitimi tena se manage adwuma me ye ya. De na chese ade so ko broni krom ansa na watimi aye bibia ma aman. Say fata say obeko broni chrome because of the nature of the programmer. No problem. Now I may call Michelle Algerian ambassador. Or say must see a whole university dedicated to artificial intelligence. Wama a slot. That way, say person call artificial intelligence. It becomes easy. Simple. Almost was also ashemebo say o mame slots for Islamic studies, any Arabic studies. Enti anu yenu anu mo muslimi fo no mo zungu no omo so bekwa akọ sua saa enoman on say eno ye bilateral enti it is less expensive, tuition is free. All that we have to do is to provide accommodation, next stipend kakra o de betwa wo so on but say o person o ba under non bilateral na ye na ye bo ho Canada I was say you streamlining in such a way say program na o koye na e beneficial to the state. Minimum captain what you say.
Excellent.
It is a KNUST air running program. In fact, let me tell you, you UK now. Our major source of funding, baby, revenue free in terms of education. Foreign students.
UK.
Oh, foreign students in the more muska.
They say inquire 40 million.
And I'm making. More for no matter they are unable to make that money. Minimum captain what you say. Yewura Mahama as part of the 120-day achievement. Put 10-member committee together so among drafted bill. Yedebe elevate the status of the secretariat now to an authority. Ye pass a bill now. Ghana Scholarship Secretariat will now move from the secretariat level to Ghana Scholarship Authority. Yewura Education Minister Honorable Haruna Idrisuna Edanwa or champion is Adian. Now no. Sa bill no or provide a more sustainable source of funding the secretariat if you like or the authority until they intend to give us 2% of your total revenue, oil revenue, 2% of the total oil revenue, and another percentage as determined by the board of get fund as another source of funding every year. If we get fund decided so be 10%. You budget 10%. Board need decided 20%. You budget 20%. And sisi aminoti we need power to generate money internally. And the application service BBI is free. But in the new bill, Omama had the power to do the RGF. The bet will be a 50 cedis as application fee. Okay. Then through that we can generate some money. By emergencies we can fall on them to make payments. Okay. Baby. And me hope say by close of this year. Now, Onua go through from next year, Onua be ye in terms of inflows. Na yetimi etuaka no. Said the buyer akwan be biama afoforo person almost so ekwa sua de wo manone no. They can also have that opportunity. Enti captain afi mawie no objection mawie it looks like I've dealt with all the issues. Then the issue of fraud.
Fraud.
Yes.
Na scholarship for their fraud be.
Fraud wom. Me no ka say. We kura me call UK no. And I'm at Bangor University. 17th March 2025. Abraham Meme office. So look at the date and check the person who signed.
Okay, so date the year 17/03/25. 17th March 2025. And then Dr. Kingsley Adjei, Registrar of Scholarships, and a sign.
Inti then it me basa.
Some matches no office.
Me na me office. Inti by two o slide about so beba.
O phone into our slide mommy why.
Inti this is the other one.
14th March 2025. Okusia day. Hey. Anyway, so and also so the same thing. So system now ma be inheriting. I am so vulnerable. And Captain Mr. Ome Yusu akwanya we e de akasa asem we ache Ghana for. Amanfo claim say na we are Jimmy Sika and I want my scholarship mutual sika. You see, and I had to say atanish secretariat in image. I'm appealing to the general public. Bribe a crime. And I captain sure. So be Sika say Obama will be only who to me a crime.
No one sound farmer.
No one sound farmer a crime. Ubetimi afio me nipa kra, fio me nipa kro. And nothing I establish a Ghana Police Service. Say it's not part of the mandate of the scholarship secretariat. And he say, "Oh, kotia usika mo obi." Now when you scholarship, and as a wunya, na say later, obe accuse secretariat and say, "Oh, tia sika ansa na wunya." Captain, me feel say nye fair.
Abra dey you free.
Abra dey you free. And nipa no say tia sika ma no. Why don't you report the person to the CID? Yeti ye nim say e bia ukoye passport aye ndi sika. Enti ye ndi sika nka to uko no obi so obedi usika. Dey na sese oye. You just report the person because me special prosecutor. And I mean CID boss. And I mean head of Yoko. And I obia Ghana ha ya educate am obia hu say obi the wo fa ade bi so aye criminal. Fako Ghana Police Service.
Yes sir, wo share let us know the chairman TV and fan to TV so. What we'll do is that we'll take copies of that, we'll verify from the secretariat, verify from the previous boss Ana Oho. Patrona 14th and the 17th March. Now we're taking office.
We taking office first week in February.
Hey. And they assign letter will do.
But I will give the previous registrar the benefit of the doubt because and they know crime is sophisticated. Will be crabby to cloning the signature. But that notwithstanding, maybe by January intake 100 and something be on Modiako UK. Above for approval. Say ye de kana kahwa. Enti na American over 40 no. Say ye de kana kahwa. Ebe 40 million no.
And also there be.
I want to okra say there be. So my suggestion or my proposal is that we should write for them to reapply. Meaning say what you say.
Hey.
And in fact, Captain Mami Mau.
Na so be
what into report in Panama police.
Allahu Akbar.
Captain.
Allahu Akbar.
Mami can't say we inchro. Captain. Captain Mami can't say we inchro. Captain. In fact, Mami Captain Mami can we. Sani per 100 and something. May go through omo dino our year office on emu 12 omo award letters and can ye file.
Hey. 12 na buy no.
Yeah, to 100 and something ya
omo
ye do makogu London and UK as January intake omo de omo various institutions. And omo tra buy for verification.
But I buy 12
and no ye migusu ameye. So far 12 and year far so meaning a fake.
Sorry. Boy.
Captain ade ba so a me pese me ye ene say me ko UK no. Me hu say nipa ne bebre o ma wie school no. Agi no objection. Ye adwuma afọ mo yire no ma betena ho. They are very okay. But because of delayed payment here that's so the omo stipends any tuition.
Oh how?
Enti no. So what do no objection? Na say what wo ye adwuma ma bruni dia. Say
o na senk ye dem order that and the third dia dia.
Adentina still a wo gu so a wo twen say woji say scan enti say scan no. Say de wa wonim say asafo power say dia bai. Kilantua. Captain. Kilantua. Because mami chirem na Ghana for ntiase. Waba say open scholarship akosua de wa amanone. Ya ye wadom ya ma scholarship wakosua de. Uwie ye na wo say wo ba be so mo man Ghana e na etika amfa so ebenya wo so ano no. Wo se o meso mo man Ghana na emomu de wo be so broni. Wo ti broni kuro mo anya akonya ya adwuma afa wo nua mo na wo yire mo aba be tena wo nchen. Na say ye sika no ahye ye nya so mfa so bia. Afa wo say stipend bi one was saying etua ma and no na committee still aban tua san fa ma wo abra wo be boye wo so me boye enti the suggestion is that obia waji no objection bia ye de ne cast typings bia yentia kilentua sa sika no ye be save the aboa afoforo ye check sa sika no nko captain na ye a little over 13 million pounds. That's a lot.
Where
13 million pounds.
Now the guy say was kasa.
Enti captain no.
That's why it's me belly want to be because.
Enti captain no. Oh, you be bonded so better 5 years and sana obetimi akọ. Ena amafo so guso omo pay no objection. Omo pay no objection no. Ma catch omo say obia for this year no. Obian consented to say unya apply for no objection a car ye deal in terms of stipends we won't pay.
Any number one.
Any Obetro letter Adjei, and I'm sending that proposal to my minister, to the chief of staff, so that we make some of these decisions. Now Ebema cannot move it from 40 something no crab perform. Because Obi no ya born hoka or tia brutra or so magana. The other thing I ain't so entia. It said the Sikada why in India. Captain, so what I say? Me share students in me catch them. And in fact, it will surprise you say, Omo very enlightened, like Omo Fienyansano. Obimu sorry can say laudable. Most of them sorry say laudable because otherwise, how are we going to sustain the scholarship? Say no, I say training. I'm for that is brain drain, and I'm more friends there.
No.
In fact, when I met Birmingham City University, the VC sat in the meeting, or Nigerian descent. A real meeting or training, we should not make the Nigerian mistake. Because Nigeria so the amount for Koyama say scholars no do na kakromo. Enti ayete said they export to sika de akwache broni ye wi ayasan ko say yensa de yensa ye mayelu. Not just sika kekewu, manpower. Meaning so what training no?
That's right. Qualified human resource.
What you say? What training there? Your students in the PhD for no mu wi ya bon say schools ni person retaining omo. Eso ye na abo omo ho ka.
Cause oma bin na ko no be lecture wo University of Ghana Nketia na oba University ayichi ana ko UPS ayichi na UCC ayichi na ono so di nimde na be kire Ghana fo e wo ha na omuni akonya obetu kwa na Nketia captain Nketia uwi awasan be ka kire me say wanya adwuma ye no me de o cast typing mi ntua ma anya sa be demonstration ena na abonten obe ka kire o say sa UK fo no mo de omo ho je sa demonstration because omuni any basis yo maba mu krom ena me bai maba krom ho mabe share universities no me no ma din kita ho ya ma mu payment plan universities ni adia to me ba ye town hall meeting me no ma kan bibia ma obi ene wo raise objection ye wie ya twitwa picture selfie bibia fefefe me sure say unu pictures ni bi sure na ebi mu pese omo ye politics enti omo instigate protest to the extent say some universities were supporting the protest by providing buses and placards. Hey. So we wrote a strong weather letter to them. Say you can buy and so and so they should not dare say the internal politics of Ghana. And they apologized. And you know, say say student. Name person as a politician. Until you be instigating people. Said they be on by protest and on the ma me for me phone make Kwaku Asofo ya throw o nya abotre me kan tro say nya abotre letter na ye dia mo no so e wo so misconduct wo ho a it will withdraw
yeah very withdraw we will just have to cancel it. Hey simple because there other countries and Morocco any Russia mo na men ko ho men e kada ho omo so agitate e kom dibi mu ya tu bi mo firi omo dem but me no omo engage virtually bi na ya endo aye me ne Russia ya virtual meeting e mo omo timelines omo nsa be kan bibi because you process e sika no from Bank of Ghana na mo no kura manya akonya hu me one on one na ya be town hall meeting ya wie ya service snacks ama afom minimum ne ade a mo ma ya okay kakra no o so be san kwa instigate amanfo so omo ma demonstration dia I was say yes you get me exercise a power say after the enye legitimate right now exercise boni ankasa na about 3 ma captain opese udi and let me send this message to them. You see some of these individuals are moyesa they have recordings of Papa Owusu Ankuma. Former ambassador to UK. Omo ye nkrofo a oni panimu bia di nkomo a na wa recording no. Mate se omo ne yankasa ye nua ya wasani tano. Ekodi nkomo e na Asofo Adjei no ye be kire ni nyansa hungry scholarship yeso wadi obi sika. I am the use platform go. Obi o se waba me Kwaku Asofo Adjei manim se ope scholarship hungry. Ah, me imagine 1 CD, 2 CDs, omofa audio no mra. Ah, so trimu fa achena manche ho.
Dabi. Oh.
Ya posa on search na hwe nu nsem a ubiem. Ana meboa.
No.
Me untimi nyusu emotional blackmail. Omo musa me nua same jamfi se de mete. Omo musa rekaje those who are close to me. Ade a oya unhu me ye emotional blackmail. Untimi meye concoct story and think that no be me kura me nya ade and why would I call you? Captain, ade e non-existent no. Why would I call you? I won't call you for anything. For at the chrono, eto abonten. No be hu se Kwaku Asofo Adjei bae no. Say na oye. My hands are clean. Me free asante mampon, akyeremade, ene nkwantanan. Me free a very humble home, meaning babia me free na me babia meko. So stay ni me ho. Me nyo obi amani brade.
No e say
krenene na what sound no. Na aba. Me nyo obi amani brade talk of selling scholarships. John Mahama reset agenda no. Enwa na ebeye. If there is any cartel, ana mo fa kwan bi so the scholarship secretariat didi. Eti wo pese mo yingindi ye no ma bi e de fefa NDC mpanimfo bi so ne sa no enya adwuma. Mandata ye wura John Mahama de makotena ho se. Asofo Adjei koye mame no eno na me focus e was me no kasa yi by way of information to them. I've already written to national security, handed over documents and me feel say was here investigating. I have done that. Enti omo evidence a omo check omo famra
eni am wo office one official what track command.
I've written anaka menya den I was say me Ghana for who what I have inherited. Me no can say I have officially written to national security. I will write to the NIB. I will write to Miami Kasaminia Remo Acha. Iyoko. Me short courses no me sheda na men kan ho asem because it is under investigation.
Short courses no.
Say otiwo o say one company be a friend Crown Agents. Crown Agents no started the process of liquidation in 2022. Company aye only na year adwuma for short courses no or in the process of liquidation. I no kase o ma fodi up. Na okohwe courses ni bia o say developing future leaders.
Then why course?
Yeah, do be on say okra buza say enti so oba na Onua TV a no be pa adwuma na buza say background ye dia o say developing future leaders. O be developing JB no be developing CaptainSmart. Captain, obe developing JB and obe developing mo chief executive officer. Obe developing one waha. Obe pa adwuma na yes o background ye dia say developing future leaders. Ba could be so say building effective teams. Captain, say as certificate there as a building effective teams. So obe building team ben Memphis. And I'm sure my biology department. Now me catch them so. This time we want to shift away from that normal theory, PhD masters, we be you know. We want to do on hands skill set programs. Biology department ni catch say, omo what? Omo discover if you like technology. I mean using is say leaf wo ha. Omo etimi yi first layer no. Ansa na all the fertilizer gusu. Ama the absorption rate of the fertilizer no etimi call times 10.
Okay.
And to say your farmers are you bet me the omaba, then they will train them for like 3 months on eno na ya san the omaya then aba, and they will certify them from the University of Memphis. So if it must be done, Captain, it must be done well. And you won't be hiding and say yeah short courses. Now what should I create developing future leaders as a model? Abra and they omo developing future leaders omo ntimi fan kan omo CV ho e cannot employ them, meaning we have just wasted money. common sense should have told people, say, Ubetimi I engage Vietnam, those commercial rice farmers, and take Omo savannah, any up north for more rice farming, voter, Afram Plains, Eddie Omako, best practices. Rice farming yet me day. China for be far ye cocoa. Ready omo dey omo develop simple hydraulic machines omo dey harvesting. Aye nyina hu be drying. Enti common sense better say, why don't you work with these Chinese cocoa farmers? Any omo technical institutes now omo dey sa machines here be support to cocoa farms no. Now unko hu agric minister now can say ye cocoa farmers no. Ye person unko sua technology na China for aye no. Enu nti no yam best farmers ni bia no na yam for omonko no omko sua na yam fa baboso kai so am magazine techima fitam for no a ma bin a won atimi ye car ni bi no yam omonko sua sa o betimi aba be sa machines ni bi wa e dey support cocoa sector
me nua bon to fa me enko
na o say developing future leaders building effective teams. Yes, maybe me share figures na on say strangely we me ma officer and a printing mommy. But strangely, on say short courses na missing.
Pia mami na me here.
Short courses na missing.
Charlie.
Na audit no crowd here. Me person make come say mo dem ma me fa BC. I've asked all the schools to provide us with transcripts of both past students and continuing students. It is a bar. What we are going to do, what we are going to do is to match the transcripts against the invoices. Meaning what? There is a possible situation where the university ASICA, so they will be rolling over the invoices to us. Abre because students, at some point we need school more.
But that's it. When school
but once or data and they will just be rolling over the invoices to the score sec.
That's right.
Until when we get the transcripts, now school the ODS guha, checking with the invoices our producer, now a match here, disparity we will invest in and also killer yentuya. There are also just typing so no bank payment receipts. Say and also do also change invoices at schools in the bar. What it means is that conformity baby omonko school but yetua sika ma omo free. I don't know
I will say that one number you home.
Say me do 40 million pounds. O convert it at the bar the current rate cry you say dollar exchange rate nya hodin kakra impo. It will hover around 600 to 700 million Ghana cedis.
Almost a billion Ghana.
Almost a billion Ghana cedis for UK alone.
Hey.
For UK nkoa. O hwe baby to say USA me call ho na nsen ya e ka no so banu e keka ko almost $10 million. E keka ko almost $10 million. As at December American was in Canada near the omoka 11 million Ghana cedis. 11 million abalu no because we are December 2024 we are now in June but abalu no. O hwe Cuba so near the omoka $4.25 million. That time no na rate near almost 62 million Ghana cedis. Algeria yedeka, Morocco yedeka, Russia yedeka, Serbia yedeka, France yedeka ama program no kromatwem. Hungary yedeka, Benin yedeka, Togo yedeka, Spain yedeka. Togo on say year abroad program. Omo musua French, omo specialize in French. They are na omo ko Benin ni Togo kusua are for 1 year as part of the academic program. And also so ye sidi no kura so chen omo na yesi fa no. Ye san de ka o Togo ni Benin. Disability.
Say Ghana for kusua de o Togo.
On say
buy am omo scholarship. And Ghana the Togo ka.
Ye the Togo ka. And no kura yesi fa na ye sidi no wa hoden chen no. E also so ye de ka. Disability grant. On say you saw disability for no more school no asene. And also so the last time I we were 1.9 million Ghana cedis, equal 2 million Ghana cedis. Ye the omoka. Thesis and bursaries for Grassack for no, ye the ka. Physicians and surgeons, ye the ka. Babia ye the ka.
Come on, totally now.
Totally the way as at December, 830 something million. But then the updated figure now, me beto so sisi na me no de year adwuma na make say ofa UK de no nko a no nko a run over 600 they cost 700 million and no yet the current rate, but the last time I checked with the 19 or the 20 na 800 and something million.
And you UK nko a.
And you UK nko a. US de so danchen and na de mabobọ so nyina so danchen. Enti edumre bi ma UK institutions na ye say omonje ye scholarship ye beneficiaries biu say o pay school wo UK now de ye letter ko say ye na ye hwe wa omo so omonje ena metena se adwene hu say no ye tena o ma UK for massa statement where very public e be affected the reputation of Ghana. And so I conferred with the chief of staff then, so they told us not to add more to the liabilities we have already, meaning yemfo bi anko UK eno for this year. Inti me call UK no. Ye share management of the various institutions na me announce say as a matter of policy. Yemfa student bi amma for this year. Said the bear bit me rationalize the kana e da house here. Inti me call UK, what I did, they said me share about 24 universities. I couldn't have met all because now we are working with over 86. I scattered we be free baby and I'm gonna letter. But going forward, I believe that we must. I was saying to streamline on institutions and no more in every country. See, your submitted payment plans are more. Ebi mo any nje ho. Ebi mo so agye atum, mo ma agye atum no nyame ya adoma within week 14 working days. I was saying to me effective payment for the first commitment. Then we do another one around August, September. Then we do the last one in November. Until I'm hoping say pressure no be come from kakra. Some of the schools are here say omo treat students kama. Ebi mo so feel say previously no sa na da we and e den e course so until omo visited the sins of the past administration on this current regime. Until that is for a cash situation. I will update you with the current figures when I get to the office. What they told her, Adie Bakwa, a DNA. Also, Busa, my question be said, Omo Henfa. Omo Makusia, a carry abeda Ghana son of way. Usually, a movie program now. No more apply for Adie be a friend in no objection letter. No objection letter, Mammy Trim no be anti. No objection letter, and say, Captain, scholarship secretariat, as sponsor captain, so Kusunya Adie. You are born hooker. You are born hooker. Usually you are bonded. Oh, qua, your mouse sign bond. So we are holding in Diana Bo, my Ghana. After say a bonding on 1 year school, or say a person of Boa Bruni, name on person of Ghana, Beboa, Ghana mine. And Tisadi, I am letter a friend no objection. Says you need objection, be as a person now no Boa Bruni as a child. No, but I hear this. I hear this. And no my issue, no objection. I'm a mammy mom. Into Amuti, Amano, Oko Yuka, baby, school to her, or Mubimako for Munian, no more than one or Moti or Mobobra. Meaning, say, Sikana edition on Ashi. I to say, at times, Sikana day, ye Mundi developed talents to go and contribute to the white man's economy. Captain, I deal with the same answer be any. I don't know, me buy, I say, I deal with the Mementias, was a streamliner, non-prophobia, conscious students in a cheap person, agitation. But for how long? Any bit me attempts can say, J. Nanfa more who can accusation de. Okoyena, also Umabu, Otna Bruni come to contribute to only GDP, no, to contribute to onono economy, no. Okoka Musio, yes, send the remittances. Na captain, remittances near the brew. And near the bremen, mamma, because you as a fortune. You remit anyway. It is not because of the scholarship.
That's right.
Now we are Juma. That's right. So when you are remitting, you are not remitting because
when you are
scholarship. Scholarship now they remit and they do it because it is their responsibility.
That's right.
So you are not remitting because you were on scholarship. So that argument moot. Need
I fall flat.
What you say? And there was a and say, and going for this is the proposal that when I get there, I will expanded more. You are get fund education minister. We have the view say any minister Pablo. We have the view say we should create a fund. Say obeje scholarship now Kocaine Addo. Ne do pempen so now so person tina broni krom boa broni dia. The amount we spent on you becomes a loan. Enti adwuma na wonya wo koye na wo pay no objection na ye de amount. Then you will be remitting into the Ghana Scholarship Fund.
Okay. Because what Jessica?
What Jessica? And our question there, I was on the bed boy my Ghana. O se wo ma
into Jessica mai.
But yen gini boom because ebi na fe no wa start wo adwuma. Ti ebi abosomi bia ye wo de obetua ana o employer no ebete dia to scholarship
from source.
Yes, so we work with the embassies. We are going to work with the embassies.
Super.
So enti eno na mekobo so because otherwise ebe say we are just throwing money away. So say also better broni krom now this can ba ene akonya wo ho a ye betimi de aboa foforo no person no so kosua de na oba Ghana.
That's right.
So it only makes sense say ye be ye bibisa say de be ya enye say time bia ban is just throwing away money. Abra ye nya so mfa so bia. Number 2, meme time idie nyabe ya aduma from next year programmer available in Ghana untimi nkoye ewa amanone.
What's say
programmer available in Ghana untimi enkoye wa aman untimi mbase yen spend dollars, yen spend pounds, yen spend euros
enkoye dressmaking
on you. Adan a okoye political science, adan a okoye MBA, adan a
ebi nkoye political science.
Oh, nursing na manfo ko enti imagine say 40 million pounds ya American senka a company a big Ghana for institutions car. This money would have still been in the economy. Nanka many abra me person mutual free way. Na joma amada Roma o say Asofo Adjei allocation we for to Yakana. Sa sika no be ko Ghanaian institutions for and they can use that same money to expand. Sure. On their infrastructure and get the equipment that are needed. For how long in the Ebeja school was saying papa until they be able to broni krum na go. But specializations under medicine, nursing, the ubetimi akoye. Ko ye skill bi obi ana ye ni wa ha. Opeso ko Russia na okusua na de beboa no problem. Opeso ko US na okusua de beboa no problem. There are some exceptions. Also omo no time bia no economy, so we can look at that. But for programs to say
political science,
why must we spend unim say unia bia political science 4 years ni onya adwuma also san ko political science wo US aba na adwuma no ubenya we ana captain dem MBA amafo krekre bia o matena fie ko 10 years o mo ni adwuma ye
enti program bi wo Ghana ha no
do it here. We your best sponsor until your local tertiary scholarship for Busumi we mu ye be launch. Until no you focus pa law, medicine, engineering, technology, AI, robotics, those areas.
Our Ghana ha. Until your university so be ba omo yes our courses no. Until no na ye be prioritize. Ye na Ghana ha ya.
O de ye na Ghana ha. Na ye nyina memeti we a ye de adwuma kakra ka sha me say captain University of Ghana Hona Mako CAF University Mako UDS na se mitimi tena se manage adwuma me ya de na chese ade so ko broni krom ansa na watimi aye bibia ma oman se ese fata se wo be ko broni krom because of the nature of the programmer no problem na no me call Michelle Algerian ambassador or say o ma see a whole university dedicated to artificial intelligence wa ma a slot that way. So artificial intelligence it becomes easy.
Simple.
Almost was also ashemebo say o mame slots for Islamic studies and Arabic studies. Enti anu ye nuanu mo Muslimi for no mo zungu no. Omo so be kwa akọ sua saa enoman. On say eno ye bilateral enti it is less expensive. Tuition is free. All that we have to do is to provide accommodation, stipend, kakra o de betwa wo. So on. But say person ba under non-bilateral na ye na ye bo ho Canada. I was say you streamlining in such a way say program na okoye na beneficial to the state. Minim say captain what you say.
Excellent.
It is a KNUST air running program. Abrofu in fact let me tell you uko UK now. Omo major source of funding pa baby omunya revenue free in terms of education. Foreign students.
UK.
Oh, Nkronkro bebre, foreign students in more muska.
They say enquire 40 million.
And I'm making. More for no matter they are unable to make that money. My name is Captain what you say. Yewura Mahama, as part of the 120-day achievement, put 10-member committee together, so among drafted bill. Yedebe elevate the status of the secretariat now to an authority. Ye pass a bill now. Ghana Scholarship Secretariat will now move from the secretariat level to Ghana Scholarship Authority. Yewra Education Minister Honorable Haruna Idrisuna Eda Onua or champion this adian. Na no sa bill no oma provide a more sustainable source of funding the ama secretariat if you like or the authority. Until they intend to give us 2% of your total revenue, oil revenue, 2% of the total oil revenue, and another percentage as determined by the board of Get Fund as another source of funding every year. If we Get Fund decided so be my 10%, you budget 10%. Board they decided 20%, you budget 20%. And we need power to generate money internally. And the application service BBI is free. But in the new bill, Omama had the power to do the RGF. TBT will be a 50 cedis as application fee.
Okay.
Then through that we can generate some money about emergencies and we can fall on them to make payments.
Okay.
Baby. And me hope say by close of this year, now Onua go through from next year Onua be in terms of inflows. Na yetimi atuaka no. Said the buyer akwan be biama afoforo person almost so ekwa sua de wo no they can also have that opportunity. And Captain, after my no objection, it looks like I've dealt with all the issues. Then the issue of fraud.
Fraud?
Yes.
The scholarship for their fraud, me.
Fraud womb. Mene woka saying. We call UK. And I'm one at Bangor University. 17th March 2025. Abraham office. So look at the date and check the person who signed.
No. Okay.
Kids na neutralizing no. Afi Papa Adjei so na udaye June 22nd. I say June you be declare say NDC month.
Okay.
Na fe so ya celebrate Papa Adjei ne birthday no so a 22nd June.
Oh, okay. That day now officially no. Mode edin nebeto. Okay. All right. It's NDC for 22nd June. The said a big day. General, my main found chassis in finesse for today. Kakra. I mean, show one list of my yen in the amount here. More fina grant and then I mean, who strike it say?
Yo, man, that's it. I may say, Ajuma Nibia, dear. Ubenya nanka ya tamu wiase sika nyina ama ono anya sika at once now the call na oman chichire no nipa ewo mu no esese bribia udi oman nanimu a wo ye won hihye ese obia so ho beto no kakran sa ho to bi na mba ye che no kakran na obia anya bi ntuma ho kwan se efa bi enhwe wo mu ye die so kase na efa bi so ehon nkire wo mu na ntosin a wo sa oman no ntimi nkoso enu nti ana obia so ni nadwuma a wo ye nti ebi susu se ebi a me doctor me ja adwuma kwa nipa be wu nti ye de be chinchim aban no nsa ama de mepe bia wa ya ama me but meti ha me so maye labor adwuma kakra na me this is not secretary nti ya demand sa nema bia pen na de wo mu ni se ade a eni ho no u demands no entimi nkofa sa ade no mba na eni ho na wo for so ha se wo be ya wo fiti pulse a emoja na eba nti de se yen workers nyina ya yehu ni se wealth no create ye na pese wo cha wo be kwa kofa de eni ho wa ko print currency no acheche wo print currency say ye ha me mfantua wo moka wo di betua wo di tua impact on the economy na nema e wo man mu nyina aboye den a akatua kakra ye de amount no enso udi nti ya famu penya bedru sabre musa champon breso adwumayefo bia ye say ye ko strike ya oh yanya o mu betu scan ho so scan onya ni print mo print bi ngum ni print ni de atua wo num ka ya print we ni de atua wo num ka de ko wie ye ne se afi de oman sika no ebeda na nwura se yise o cost of rakota de yise jama wheelbarrow na de beso asidis no e de akọ enti kwambia ni ho a obefa so awi mako a eno enti se oman no mu ye ne adwumayefo nyina nti ase a ese yenya ne se sika no eni ho na o ka se chinchina mi chinchima bansa mana kope aba dia ban be ya ne so be print sika gum o print gum akakra e wo botom no nyina eso be hwan ade be che wo be sore no na dollar no a ene nam 11 na dollar no abro 20 ubenya sika na gu botom ba o de kra bibi ane bo be boso be sempre no na mprensa enti emfa yibia emma and even in the immediate past no ya hunu bi pay ade ba ko a emma unse atamil se bae no saatem enna start ye oil ne production ne ade ntina economy no koyie wo kai say druba bi a emma yenya the best growing highest growing economy in the world.
That's right.
14% double digit. Imuwa na ekoba say President Akuffo befra konwa so no se vote no opeu de no opeu ene okọ sign single spine se obetua ma workers no nti somewhere December 2008 no ene o sign say obetua no se March 2009 abra na onum se onye president enti eduru ho no ena omde bayire yen se abanya san to ho na mabedi abanya de ntimonye ye bobo ho IMF for kra de futo ba se e maye nye ya e besei economy no ba bia yaduru ni na eduru ba bi na pressure ezi o yenye ene ekokoye enti ye hye ase pe eduru finfin no na Dr. Dufo no nyina hu se di ade na duro no ahwe a ye bewie sa single spine no tua ne na areas ne ade nyina no eche se oman no sika more than 70% to getting to 80% ni nyina beko adwumayefo akatuam adwumayefo nyina so Ghana adwumayefo abanfa omo adwuma nyina no ayere so 500,000 enti nipa 33 million na odi omo shebre ekoto chacha se minko satisfy 500,000 eno na ehona economic dislocations no start yeni na mo akire IMF sometime ni ade enti se yansua bibia free your history mu a we will keep repeating it eno enti me de mesre se minuanom nurses fo se de me kan ma ye leba yinu bida say no de eko gina faako se memi gina baabi ena employers ana wo mo efam adwuma mso gina baabi nti me de me man hwe twa na ye twe no ni nyina emmoa amanfo bebre all over the world wo mo atwe wo mo ho afiri saa tintintintin no so de wo mo ye ne se ye nyina hwe foto num de wo ho de betimi atua eche se ye no kakra na economy no so etimi adjust a ye nyina na ahoto ebe mai katua kakra na ye wo no o de kodwomu a eche se wait wom na for so say menkoye no sa uwie ya na this other class of workers na mo so aba na wo so aba na wo so aba ubehwe no ye be call round no ne asan bisi ba bia yesi no a ye hwe IMF kwai enu ntimi de mesre se mi mu obi afọ but ye nyina ye nhwe de oman no betimi aye na de di hobiem on se de mahunu wo ye labor relation system no mu ne se anka aban fa wo adwuma mu a ene ye mawo collective bargaining certificate say one aban a wafa wadwuma mu no one no bedi wakatu abo ano so na de achia kakra wo health sector no any say in the health sector no womo di womo professional association no na akoye akofje collective bargaining certificate ena enye members enye all the members of sa professional group no ena aban fa wo mo adwuma mu ebi wo mo private practice enti se ukoye na mukoto abana obi a ono wo private practice oba bedi monimo a na ono na one aban ekoye negotiation a akatua no kura ono onka ho aban adwuma ye yu enye yu onka ho a ya na ema tintin ba negotiations no enti I have always maintained say Ghana Medical Association for instance enye wo members nyina na aban wo nya employees of the government so nurses and midwives association I don't know I stand to be corrected I don't think say wo members nyina government employees and akatua ye ka ho ansem so between government and government employees
that's right
so it shouldn't be a matter of a professional group because aban for a professional group for no nyina adwuma enti sa na ma no say ya correct a eto da bia e ma negotiation ni collective bargaining no e ho te twuma kakra nti yenhwe na afi so oman na yetimu no yesi ye build democracy ni fapim any justice and rule of law nti asemba court na eka ena mrai wo ho na edeka se mi tietie mu a asemu adruba bia ma wo mu de akokot ama court abua se strike no ye illegal na se sa na tie ampa se court abua se strike no ye illegal now de gina so se illegal kura minim se man kwa adwuma nipa bewu intimate trafia ma nipa na wu a I say you don't want to operate in a democratic society. It's a court verdict na want to say monkoye appeal na monfa reasons mra yehunu say ebia court verdict no mo challenge enti ye say ye di tintin obi a de ne boso asem ebe ye de ope na ye mfa mra nya adwuma mra aye wo ho a labor law so aye wo ho a say e fa so ba bia say wo ye duru ansa na we declare wo strike unuru horo could declare strike na say ka say court ka say sign now say men sign ya say you are living in your own world.
All right imienu no yentete animo Shaman
inia
unim papa bi afa chama untumi
menin no pa
what say ache no
mate say din no kra wasesa o
wasesa ni din no
they say they were chama ubetimi
they say they were chama ubetimi o
ubetimi
ni issues there
oh
then na unim then what then
say abo Kwaku
abo Kwaku
I know what baby. I know who say Kocaine mansa. Wa wone ma na okwa chima na ajane man wa kire wo musun se oni ho na kom de wo mo a omunsun se bibi ntimi yo ma mi bibia ntimi yen na Kwaku betu se wo musun dakro no say monsieur na mamboso no wan wo wiase a bibi ntimi no enti so no nye supa enti mon sesa na munsun se bibi betimi yen ana Kocaine mansa ba ni mana adani sun ya o musun bibi betimi yen no say hwe me edoto mu hene de be na betimi me se me mane mu bibi antimi mo di wana be kire mo sei no mo say papa Kwaku na ba ha na o say yesu no nya yen sesan so no se pia Kwaku na ambeka sa me Kocaine no na ma Kocaine no kura ba ma we ne nam asisi akọ Kwaku si dunsini bi so ano si wo Kwaku na wo abekire me ma kire boni wo huri se okochi Kwaku na Kwaku ehuri esi famu a apapai na nsoro mu dunsini no sorodo wakadua no so na wawu atodua so na Kwaku ko fa ni manu se mumra mehe mo papa o si bibi ntimi no wo musu no ase no
bibi betimi ebi na to ntimi no ne issues there anka se dem pa na 170
oh me so nim say sebe menye prosi ana menye judge menye investigator de mutin wo radio so eno na ye nyina tie na de minimum democracy mu ne say se eto ensafrew investigative body to ensafrew say bra na assembly wo ho a ese obeyi ano girim die bia babra beyi ano a boko na de ho ko na wakoka wasem no edane kwa mu se wonye ebone a se wo ba fie ba wa ebone nso a dede no anipa betu adi wachi yempre no eno ntimi enyi wo mfiri amane num so enti mete se ya frɛ no de dika na fa illegal mining ho ene ya frɛ o ena eno jama okoyi ebia no ena foforo so aba se sika bi contract bi a waje a onye aban sika bi a waje a onye na ye sanche no asi 48 hours dura say ye ma obeli ana say ye de obekọ court ye ma obeli so a ye betimi aye no unconditional ye betimi aye no say bail conditions enti as ayifoi yoko the info na chain no economic and organized crime one more chain no 48 hours through ye yama no bail and the conditions ya ba say brabe ye satisfy conditions na kofi we so ho atitrasem ni demonstrations so nka fahin na fe nyonom ni MPC kikiri empre ekotena ho omo titi form you know enunti minhu deda na omo ye no nyina na menti ase na udi political party anim udi kuo bi anim a esese wana montuo ene one ye no etwetwe nipa eba na asema obeka nso ebeto asumu ame aka se asema oyi a NDC for kan na NPP for kan de eto asumu enti enyina nkan bi mu awom na oka se me de akoye se spoil child bibia na ma fam boro me de ahye me motuam bibia me de mama me woyi amesu se akwara so pesu asu a de oka ne se opekoto tiri
akwara bi pesu asu a koto ti no pe na koto su ni tiri
na chese sunu anu besu ebini de afenyo maki ni group from here no parliament no because ade awo ye no mfa kwa mu e ka se jaya o se mempere na mi sori afiri ha na mi we se koto ti danda bia o mo hwehwe so enu nti no dede no ane ye no e wo ho no nyina na me nti ase because esi bill no so nya reasonable enu nti nipa no so a wache wo no osusu se ojao na eba se wu dwane a saa sika no nti a wache wo no ebehye enti de meta hu ni se sikadie bi fa wo ho na ye chewo a wo mo calculate bill no a wo mo calculate no se bill ukura na odwane kwa o man no moka a ye benya obi amanatua enti eno na wo mo hihye se brabetua se sikadie fa bill ebedi kaginamu so na se nipa no ebeli no ko na ya hunu biemu a yatimi di ahya anan mo se ebroso so a court na constitution no se mumfa nko na nka mu de akọ court na court aka se bail condition no ebro so nti court judge na nka set me ehwe tie we asem no no afixe bail conditions no se monko no ni we so na munya no eno bia ma na as MPs a wo mu didi ani mu nyina bebre wo mo na se wo mo ye lawyers na se lawyers si oni mra so o dia tutra se na be kan se ma na ye abetwafo so ye nyeda
o se
lawyer o si onu ni mra so a na ye ne abetwafo ye a ye nsua law no bi ye so ye nyeda Captain.
Allow your phone in the brother so they're not be your phone.
Na so yenye someone to agum.
Na mo suma dey trebi.
Etu ye no bi masika so na odi ko twa oti wo ho a. Yesi wa fom mra na se mra no na moto agui. O se obi o wa ho de ono de sika beba, we de konti ba beba, we de we beba. Enti society so yenye no sa. Okay. Ye nyina ye somra. Enti se wudi ekuo bi anim wan kasa profession no so e kire se mra e na oye ho adwuma na wo aye mra no ho adwuma se ma ye ni mra no so a na kwankire ben na wo kire dia ma o party fo ne o mo akai mante se obi okobo journalist bi asum
e wo ho
no
multimedia
ya ma ono ye de na kotwiri mu nso ono so o de besu anyansa se enti se si ya no
no de mante se party fo no ekobo twi wo ho ma no
no no be that prison ho be dwene ho say ade na me nso ye chi mi wontumi nse ya ja no se nkai se ono so lead nipa ba me court de na ono so amai eno na se utrase na dwene ho se mo se ye mfamra enye adwuma ana se mo bu se mra no ye hihye ma binom na binom de enhye mra se a eno so mo nka mi nti.
Wow. Chairman, apart from Onua, menim sebia also what here. Na say kwanya sasa nkoye waje contract wanye over 50 million Ghana cedis here chairman no kwanya no wanye and international bodies bi so de omo ho age eye the case.
Sana mesometete chese akwanya no ho asem de eye MPP no a wo mo wa Ashanti region no womo na beye press conference ebobo akwan nu nyina ye de ama wontumi contract a waanye no ye bo we so a na omo age so waanye efiri hakosi hakwan ye de ama wontumi waanye enna mu party mpanimfo yeso nenam se asumasi wadi bone no afa ne ho adi we yadi bone no afa ne ho adi enti se mo maba no na entimi emisa wo mo hwe na mutia ye na ban foforo aba na oye mapede amamo a adenti na musan ko gina ba bi ka se mokoko apai nyamo na muka se wuntumi wa diska nyamo na muka se wakoji ska se okodo abrofu a ennim kranka minim se de $10 million do abrofu
$10 million do abrofu
since no okoji bi wo se bank bi se o de kodo abrofu jama o mo charges no bia
$10 million no de kodo abrofu
o de kodo abrofu na me man free me kwada bremu 16 years ado abra be sinde enunti se sa charges na wo mo nyina e ka no e wo ho sa ampa na say omra na ye hwehwe mu na ye hunu ba bi anokre no that's why ye bone a na mo MPP for no na mo kan bone no na che say mo ye nokwafo say ko hwehwe no onye bone so a ni tiri so na che say mo ana mo mpe na say mo a mo ye ho press conference e ka say wa diska wa say party wa ye say no so na manda password dedi enti mi hu ne enti MPP kro no a wo mo na e ka say nipa na di bone na ye chi na bisa na no asem ye mfa no nkoto prison ye bisa na no asem se be chechire mu mi anhwe na no so MPP for no abesan sorry aka se ye mpene munya no na either say womo de Ghana fo adwene di agro ana womo de susu say Ghana mra no eye ebinum dia etime de ye binum ho adwuma na binum de ya adehye a Ghana mra ni womo banya sa so netie nti eno de on say Operation Recover or Loot no ewo ye manifesto mo ye de share manifesto num say Ghana for monto aba man ye ba we ni ye ba beye obi a wadi o man sika bia no ye be yire na age so follow me campaign no Ashanti region ho am untumi wo no me ka say ye ba no wadi aban sika ye be mia obo na wafe ye mia na wa mfe a leche say dura chirenti e be sa obento a na wa piaba enti meka sa di nyina santima nya na ye boy nsam mame say Ghana fo gidie ni say nsese odi oban sika na ana wo moto aba no so ma ye na ya ba na de enti a wo moto aba ma ye de ye adwuma mo se mo mpene ka no na Ghana fo egi tu mu a wo moto sa aba no ma ye enti ye ka se e be institutional renewal so because democracy enye rule by men a rule of law so enti rule of law no chere say mra na ye pani ye na ya ka nyina including womo president no me ade nyina no womo nyina hye mra se enti mra no na ye pani enti say de mra no ye na mra no so be ye adwuma state institutions ye de obi adwuma ma no say ne mra de ni a odi be ye adwuma we de ni odi be ye adwuma nti se weaken state institutions no ewie na ka say democracy ebe ye yi a oboa enye ye nti ne ka say ye ba ye be reset state institutions no institutions of governance ye be reset because evidence wo ho say bibi nkoyie eno nti de ye no nyina ye manifesto commitments ya no ne implemented there ever happen in the resetting there happen with judiciary front there happen there guso ever happen with other state institutions no nyina no ebesi because ya nya let's say ya dada Ghana for
just say chain de ebe koso obi eska wo ho bia de mo be che
eno de obefe
obi
a na make so no it's not about say PNC ni ana NDC ni ana MPP ni ana say hwan obi a we NDC ni no wadi bia ye wa homboa na obetima chechire o man say party bi mu fo nko ana mra ni wo mo na bi no so fa wo
so ni bia bi wo no
wadi bia ye wa homboa because we dead wa ko e na wo ye wie we ya say u tua a car who begin from arrears
okay
into tua arrears no wi a say na salary e da ya nim no na wo ba
ye ba betua tie
enti governance ya e koso yi enunum nyina no sa probity and accountability no ebe ya adwuma wo
nti ye arrears no
enti o ye appointee a na uduru ba bi na bibi kire wadwene a pajawani hwe de ofori atai komu no na hunu se
betimi ato
okra ye ntwen se ye bewie afri ansa na obi abachi wo ye nyawo a ye bachi wo
obi ya appointee
sesi obumra so a ye de mra bediwo
chai
ubumra because sa na ye de chechire oman so obi amaye no sa oman no nyeye se what transfer Adjei na ti se de ofori atako trambro chira see china ye me ha operation ye me ha operation num ne manema ye titi se enkomra no wan siga na biem kura na se bia enema amanfo ka se wanye no ye se hu skatua bi wo mu na odi akogu abruchire na ote ho na o se o ma biem se wa fa o man no sika enti sa so a omra meya no ne hu enyense na ho nto ho se obia nye above the law so tia se nti o man we se ya nhwe se ye de mra ebe ya adwuma ye betra mu se ya aman a ye nyina omo de mrane no kredie na ye adwuma no yeso Kwame Nkrumah sha ase no o sheda consciously no adapto Ghana motto freedom and justice na ye ba ya fa freedom no nko a
justice na ya to
atwene nti say justice no ya restore in your governance no a de nyina ye bregu kwa o man no nko ba bia
Ken mo be den no beba
no me lawyer ni me nchire nipa kwanya obi ko school de wa ko sua ne se obi di bone a kwanya fa so che no nti ye hwe omo se o mbe hwe se obeba
cause emra OSP inviting the kan no oso oyare okosa no ho yare wa butri no obeba okoye na mre no so ye no na otro krata ba se ye be ni surgery na ono ade date ba se May 6 obeba Ghana May 6 na twam osi osakoye surgery Office of the Special Prosecutor man akwenya watan ho atwen na wama sesi ai omo friend bi mu a ke wo say aha osakoye surgery bi ase o the surgery ni sa o ma wo
ani se ba bi surgery woni padua mu doso
Maybe a yes, said you in Pedro.
It may be what come on, ye be or chi, ye be or show a home, ye be what. The cat say, Jay surgery, a whole million date ya. In fear never so cranny. And it was so means, Yano. Out to our see a bay and surgery. And Otra play mu ba e be yi ni nsem anu san ko ya sen ko woni tam a otra si aye ni say so but omo enim ra no me ja ma omo na kwa yom be fa so aye no omba ba ye so ya fi ye ni aye hwe wo mo se wo ye mra nimfo ne de wa atra ho a wo so ye hwe obi mra no timi diu enti ko duru ba bi na ko ye minu ani madam funi na nipa a ese etwe na so wuja ma ne kwa kina wo so ye be yire obi because I say nyina ye watch my ye ho aha sabe meti ho bi teach ma wo party no ma ese say nipa bi so etimi de yire me
ye be yire o
na saa ne ye no saa no a ebe ma amamu na akoso kama ba ye ka se we nuani ye ma ne mfa ne hunni na we de ye nkoche no we party ni say ensase a omo ka se de say menua okuja to no ni na mo akire we ye wi abansase we ye wi abansase we ewi a ye beba ho nso ye hwehwem na omo wi abansase no ndc ni wo mu a ya hobo ase wo so mrakoro no abediu
NDC ni bi aban asase wo nti asase se no kro mo nya nduru ho
da bi na se no obi fanko
na se mo be wi na mache mo be go MPP
o ade o pese o chese akrofo no nyina wo MPP mu ana
da bi men ka asase
ana ade na o se ye wi ni ego me se wo mo e wo NDC mu e be che wo
se se yi mo hwehwe Professor Amiwa Kufi onenem chema wontumi onenem
no crowd de minu pa ami ase minu abroni na ya bai
nti mo o te se ya kire na ufili
se usugu yam so ese mra no ya adwuma
nti na usugu yam
ba ese mra no ya adwuma e se wanti me amfa ni wunua hwanua na wo mo organa hwan na oni nua nti se ne we nua ni yenya no we nua ni yenya no we nua ni yenya no a ha bede ha behwam ha bede ha behwam nti ne anya kokote woma anyere twene no
yewi ni
nyina wo so house o na so achi ha de ho bede munyi mfiri mu ni pa achi bede munyi mfiri mu ha bede mu
yewi se woma na sa
ya twitwa woma no nyina nti na wo hu twene bia ya de kokote woma so nti no mrabedi nipa ni e ka se we firi mikrum we firi ha munya no we firi ha munya no ene ye nchi obi a Nti ebrebia na mayire obi a mede mra edi no. Na manfo aba mi kromu himfo aba. Se we de na ofri ye kromu na una unuano no na una ugina ha ye no se nsam bi sa se ye krom ho police station ni ho ana. Na me se ebi wo ho. Am se wo mo report to me achi nipa wo. Se kwa ho no. Ya na achimfo na be report to me achi nipa na se dagatifo na be report to me. Nya se kwafo na report to me achi se kwafo no. Nti police station wo kro bi ha so. Eno kire wo se uni akura di boni a so de no police na ye ne ho adwuma. Ya nya no sa amamu enkoso because justice and the foundation of nation building. Nti metise MPP foi itimi say I mean process ya ekoso wo Supreme Court ni ade ya na ya demonstration ye say ye tise Ghana ya assistant chief justice ya investors ma international community be ka say ye nye democratic when the can sa akire wo when emo bia ntramba bia mo bi mfa hunahuna bia say utu chief justice ya say international community bi be ba be kan say bia international community de wo mo ba be kan no ye ne wo mo nete ha reports wa aba before aye call campaign ena nekura ewo ho ene say amanfo aye service ena a conclude say nipa about 70% say yenye judiciary nni meboa sama kan bi wo ha pepepe enti se o si wo kura oman wo bechichire oman na esi institution bi wo ho a yenyinu nni eno so na ye the most critical institution ayetimi gina so chichire oman now say ese wo touch sa institution no dia amanfo be ka say wanya ade anti international community no do they believe say a democracy should have a justice system where 70% of the citizens enyintum? Is that what the international community like? Business community a womo pede o musika aba ha be enyuma no. De ya womo pene say judicial system wo kuro no so etisen. Is it fair and strong? Say obi sisi wa judiciary no bebo ho bai. Say reports we ho che say judiciary no ntimi mo investor bia ho bai if he said the obi beka na wo be di so a. Say oman no ye ho bibi. Ansa na gidia bamu ama international investors you say him for wo mo de wo musika aba. Because investor onu free baby ba no onu ni nua ni ha. Enti so oba na obi yire no say oje na japade na asem ka o ese Ghana court gi se o de bibi we ko anaji se whom you know ne de be ma wa ono ofra breche ba ni nua ni ha no eno nti me encourage process na ekoso no. I don't know the details of petition no ne manema e wo ho but what I know and say there is a process here. A hold judge you, president you, when you a hold be accountable. It is a citizen be sorry no a petition say you hold chief justice accountable for never be also say why ya. It is strengthening our democracy. Okay. Mobia meka say IMF, World Bank, why international level Commonwealth judges and magistrates association na ade wo mo be kan sem bia me aka say na we numa kan bia ye ja na atramu sa ye nya na say ye nya judiciary ye ni ye wo scientific pools it say amanfo no ni gidie wo na say amanfo no bi say mpese boni we na wo mo nhwehwem na mo nka no kra say yen touch ho yen hwehwemu bia wo ho. That is not democracy. Enunti no bibia yenye no yenkyere ho kwai
ade bia yenye wo asase so no yenkyere ho
ade a yechiri no ye ko kyere ho kwai enti constitution no ya twere ahye mu se judge ye boni akwanya se de no faso ni enti se obi fa kwan no so na wa amfa so yie ode kwan foforo na ye process no de a ene emini nipa no wa asem but se onam ne kwan so pepepe na o ye de a ye ntwen ne enkohu ba bi akwan no de ye be kwa akosi eye papa ye behu se yeko na obi a process no be ka se wa ye boni na Ghana fo ahu the process no be ka se onye boni wo a wakotwa asem hunu ade agu chief justice so wo so ye ne onde if you say institutional head bi ana institution bi sa sensitive sa obi anya boni na okotwa asem to no so a enye onu na wo say no wadi o man no so awu nti wo a ukoye sa ade no ese ne o ka asem nti me de me mpaye ne say process ya ekoso no yenkotwa so wo kwan bia so yema enko through enko endi twan wo mo edi petition by no say wo mo entro na wo mu twa ya yenkyire wo mo nso
okay
nyempa ne se wo mo se no kure so na wo mo kan ya de wadi boni no so no na kyese akonwa no mfata no ayenyi no ho ne mfa foforo mra yenko ye
Chief Justice in some of the himpa na what here how pa say yes say the mama na ye that what here how pa as a politician
Ntim
Fordjour
David
we sure
oh there wo mo keka no nyina ye rumor because Marano say ye bonu kwadu a ma mo mfa kwadu no mekire timamufo
kwadu so apie
president meka ya mi hu say no de wo mo keka no na ye kwadu no
that's a petition bi wa bontin
then na che say no ye genuine petition no ayeka ho asem
okay
enti president meka ho asem na chief justice no so maintain say why press conference aka say charges ya de abomini enti mo amo kasa wo ho no nyina no mimibu no say rumor mongering
oh sir
because constitutionally no you say ma wo mo nka mu asem nkyere yen process no so no yentina kokoa mu enye omo ma yentibi enti officially me maintain enti minim charge bia the minim ni say there is a process say nipa bi akobo chief justice ho kwadu process no ya refer ama council of state almost de muayaba na president guso a odi muaye eye adwuma minim say court cases ebi afri ho akoko to say process no enye papa court aka say yabo to agu eye papa be mienu ana miensa na masayante say chief justice na ankasa ono so di biako na court abo to agu na details ye wo mu no de menkan committee no ho menye president of Ghana na menye chief justice mrano so say sa nipa miensa na say wo mu hunu emu asem nti Asiedu Nketia nte
say de wo nya nte hwe
David
chairman chief justice on kwa no ntena
o pese be chi me contempt ya
o be no bi be chi contempt
obi say waye boni onko ena asem no wo court animu ayeka ntimi nko ka say onko ana ontena me de maka ewo campaign mu ne say institutions na amanfo ni gidie wo mu no ye be reset amra kwan so be reset enti say reset no koso a ye hwe de be kwa akosi ebi a be kwa akọ reset ebi a process yi be ba no na che say nipa bi so na ya wo mo ede aye wo mo suban say da bia wo mo nam a wo mo betwa fi ede agu court no ho ama abedi nipa trimu say judge fo edi bone enti say we ye kokohwe na say entro no bia na make I will be interested in holding the petitioners also accountable for creating sad way ato o man no so enti enye one way thing enti na me bo mpa ye say process no ebeko through akosi enya kosi wi a de oye papa ana de wo mo petition no se ba se kosi na e se chief justice di for onkofi a ye be ba wo mo amba so se wo mo anya kokoduru aye se ko na kokosi se chief justice nye hwe na nipa bi na ahye da akọbọ omutirimu po e de efin abeka no a na no so mo a mo aye sa mo abusa suban no e da ne kwa mu se mo so ye twemaso.
Chairman, the Atuabewi 2024 elections say. And Krahaya national capital. Constituency back we MP. Maybe who are for general conducting elections for Ghana.
Yeah.
Men who are for general conducting elections every year, me brobosome. Bosome mienu. Ana yenya MP. Afrejan koye no me huma me Charlotte say. Ya Ntoaba ma ya nkase bosome mienu bosome miensa. Constituency bi enya MP. But every 2020 eba ye mami Jane Adokwei Mensa eba ye no. First one 2020 elections no sa womanya MP because abano wom kra de woman to be kra 2024 yet to abano we have be ko we kra say police stations to kra na fe de declare results mana be dru ba bia sese ya me no kasa no ye ni member of parliament yentimi declare I think it's all constituency we have to declare what is happening Ablikuma Chairman, what is happening?
I say Ubia Bompire say a wuntemwa Dako. A behu a crass also a doma na a jamwaso bodono.
Say a wuntema.
Young wuntemwa.
You don't say Krakutadoma.
Our Marty Bank, Krakutadoma or Bona, a jamwaso bodono, Ubia and Chena Yonko. A bini home. Say young we and never be there anymore. You be who I come home. A bini the basis of research a month for ya, you see state institutions, meaning a baby compromising. A bini electoral commission. So ultimately, if you say, "Oh my imo, the people who pay," I mean, that was when I entered politics for the first time. They say, "Yeah, referendum, yes and no." Boku central resource. It declared no base imprinsia. It declared back. Na abai wo yeso na yenso ye wo no ene Nana Akuffo Addo num nyina na ye wo no enti na ye union government say a champion so be union government na ya kaso say ye pay union government nti abai wo yes ne color ye blue na yeso ye wo no ye color ye red die to abano aban kwa na wo radio a wo campaign ni ade ade nyina GBC 1 GBC 2 ye na wo no ye ni radio wo mon kan ye no so ho asem nkire obi aban ni nam fam ni ye campaign no election no e call no e je say e obvious say no a win sika chicha aban no chiche nyina ankosi wi no a win enti edi kan apa is num ni ade num nyina omduru asante reje ye bobbo ba bia na omosha hu se no be overtake yes no a ni asan na so boko central ye 10,000 aka ho na che say yes ya bedi animu enna omoye no sa ye to ye kai aba no wie no na bibia che say yes ya win no a win a champion so say yes na say o now so electoral commissioner satan na you nipa ba ko pe electoral commissioner
okay
And no whole lessons in Tina, ye constitution, we are an electoral commission, 7 members. As a channel. And I say, ye be now so, now among the Amoka, Ako, Justice Saban, or no, ye electoral commissioner. Or my year no answer or now, so yes, he say, winning. So no, so now. Into a benouncing no now, Monday Amoka. A coach is in one fee or farm Puma Mufurisi and Tin and Cambi. And now, I jump on SMC for announce to say, electoral commissioner, Irayu, into appointed electoral commissioner for us, may declare election results. No, so I better now I declare, say, yes, now I buy now win. Who I need na and I too are buying free. So, and now I buy no more for a Koye Palace School, General Kufunum. And I say, Okase, who to a champon, and ye, Kuswa, almost attempting more than 20, Ibia and so CD. Na your master, we are actually obey President Akuffo, National Security Coordinator, Francis Poku, Satem no Janimranti Bremu, very intelligent
security officer.
A drew point to be now, see the whole of African continent. Ghana na security, yeah. Strong power, be a trial intimate to a jump because of the works of
Francis Poku.
Very excellent officer. And now, into a way I know, and now, Obi PND or no any PNDC for no. But I coach resignation letter. And their champion letter has na yeah. Until one more call meeting, SMC meeting. Wow, or trade to see a champion call who na ye buy letter num to her say sign a penny, sign say why resign. All the Francis Poku ni hobby. Why resigning a ye cool? And now, or signing. Yet, why we are announced to say jump on no ankasa resigning. Nah, General Akuffo, and now what take you over? The General Akuffo no take you. That tension will come to no take you over. No, and no, Ben so say union government, you know, say, yes, you win the cry, your chum, your and now all since I near Manuma and son, I coach a constitution at Twaso Abbey. Say Liman Tam Abano. And Nunti Sanya 19 years soon a 7-member commission.
Okay.
Say you're pointing ni pana omoko trawa. Obia be retire at any age. Enti ebrebia nkoba say womu nyina be free so. Enti tem bia bi be call retirement bia say during all time as president nipa be mi no anase mi ensa na wo tam be dura wo be call retirement ya wo be replace wo no wo be kwa akoto 5 wo ho nti ontimi nsesa obi adwene eche say ya ye no sa kama every PNDC tam a wo point here and Rollins enkwa na appoint here before wo started processes. And also it was carefully selected because and PNDC now quite say third force will be say UP for whom CPP for whom until we had the composition of the first membership of the commission no who baby obi alin so wa abalance and no crown yakoto abano NPP for beka say stolen verdict nti eye Rollins nkwa na pointy wo mu na ono asan be they say candidate into a mumpenso. The same group no na omo beto aba, omo hwe abato no so na President Akuffo ewini ye. Eche say a convey legitimacy kakra e de aba. Enti from that time no President Akuffo so time em se miensa na said 9 po so ba kon resign ekoye NIA pani na miensa so retire at their ages and will replace womo wantima replace the whole commission and na ebedru atames so ono so ne bresem se mienu na resign na replace omti na anya legitimacy bi say Africa ha nyina we are see emerging democracies no nyina wo mo be learning lessons wo mo fire commissioners ma wo mo kocheche wo mo adia ya hu de free na free sura santan waba
na be na okay
nye madam fo Obaya ejese butaisi na niso ane se ye control or ye sign electoral commission for na ye wo mutumi control electoral commission na say si a wo mo ya chese by the time wa ye kosa election we ya ejese majority of ayifo no nyina ye appointees of nana na kwanya offer so yi 3 top executive for no ya kan ho asema kan asem bia ya kan bia ba mu na wo so ne ye nso confirm the amount for suspecting on say ono ne breso na every union government term we the mention term na ya declare election results 5 times you
church 5
2020 election results so ya now o ma pronounce say mistake ya bam near declare fufuro mistake ya bam near declare fufuro just say ya wuntem no na ye ne ma ye hu so enunti the fact is say commission we as it is enye fit for purpose no obi anim
commission we we
enye fit for purpose
say omko
o ma check
hey
obinya petition pe na manjai kasa acha say asem na ye nyam petition dey metimi kan bi
anti kan bi
nti ese omko because democracy be ni ato aba ama a whole constituency womuna ntu bi kura mfie 9 saw ya fumani so nimse masa and every voter region Santan Greater Accra and also ultimately declare results kwanye fa so e declare sa na mai e solve problem bia we electoral system se wo nipa wo mo adwene da ho a wo mpese wo mo de emra ya adwuma ayi bia ni ho a election bia ni ho a ebe ye statement se ultimately declare gise obi pese odi ni tumi ya ade ene mra ene election hihye no bo bra eno nti na aka ho no because obi guso a oye election a or conduct election a constitutional process ya oye rulings from our Supreme Court HSA obi guso a oye constitutional process ya court on stop no eno nti say election from time I share election nasia kosi say declare results no court to end stop omo EBSC calling down the election mu babi bebre obi o the court to be the Supreme Court has been consistent to say electoral process no go so a ekwa end stop omo enunti say ye to aba na ye go so a ye to aba no akoko to say obi sisi minti court on restraining nipa no say and now on restraining electoral commission say abato no maye nto aso a court bebo atu agu na oya na onyan declare results a obi obekọ court bia say court botugu if we say remedy ewo ho against electoral commission for adwuma and say why awie no wa wonte ase no akọ court na court akodane akoto akutie mwasem no se the commission no ye no nye papa court be order say ye nane no eye papa na court akase entena ho na what is say ya election abeduru ayi na yintimi declare results na kwanye fa so a problem bia ba obetimi ahwe ahunu kwanye on de be fa so ene say yesi yeto abanu wi a yen enter ade no nyina wo pink sheet no so na obi ansensan enti no obi ankuta copy enti ba bia mo bedru akinye beba ho bia no ye de pin sheet no copies no na eye evidence because obi a copy ekuta no bia no signatures o de wo so me de wo so commission de wo so eno na de ye adwuma so enti ukoduru ba bi na se sa pin sheet no enye available a ubetimi ahwe so a declare dia we ya ne se abrewa beka nokre sa nipa no a wo moto aba no wo muntu bata wo mo ane wo ho yensa nko na wo muntu wo mo aba ne mfa declare results ba chinchina pin sheet no ni ho and now person wo manufacture be declare results. How does that happen? Afarijan ohwe ya bato so akwatia polling station some said 3 or 4 or 5 refi exact number ewa akwatia zongo entokwasi ye na eno e destroy enti ya nya results waje enti that election
2008 dear nana
yes
and now 7
yes
7 polling
that election NDC winning winning Ghana yamfa to trust man kase electoral commission declare my electoral commission kwan be na obefa so solve problem afarijan say you need sa documentation no dia nipa kro no ane wo hoye nsan ko ne enkoto ene ekoto ye
na mo san winning
there be a lusu ye party in government no ye lusu ye we accepted it.
I mean polling stations
no ye winning bi but na results we wo ho no na MPP na lead enti margin na wo mo di lead no we no ye margin of victory no de koka ho still no ye ntimi
for parliamentary
haraba margin it was ye ja mu ma MPP ni betna time ye to aba ena omukoye Jordan kwanom at that time koye dede ni kantania dia aye mane maso ye mane electoral commission solve problem we now man raise another issue solve we now man raise another issue enti 12 for pa ho a ekobo 1 na intimate to about time ena electoral commission declare say abano time abano intimi maso ena omutwam se na ye MPP for one strategy say ye nya na ba kun ka chire ana nti one declare the whole country there no
na Kocaine
because country no there no kura no achinye semba mu na ye koye they say ye agree on some figures nti agree we womonko now so a farijan say time and to be and na ye hwe time womo voter population no and ye margin of victory no a say time sa ankofo no nyina to ko one side there e betimi affect the national resource no because time na ye 54,000 me constituency 54,000 registered voters. And imagine ye dia winning so ye say 23,000 thereabouts. And now we say no. And ye see ye kwa na say MPP winning even 50,000 a bit me at anyway. And now 40,000 cry bit me at anyway. Enti semi declare no say see here e demand son beba enunti yenko time ne yenko to time de no exclusively ne emfa resource no meka ho ansa ne declare satan na ye ne elidio yeti ase ne ekọ time ene ekọ to ye ansa na ye de ba beka ho enti say oh challenge wo ablikuma ho either you cancel the whole election and rerun and now say polling stations here boa waje atum say woni pin sheets no
yanko to say da kwatia de ne ye
MPP force ye ni pin sheets no NDC force ye ni pin sheets no mote wa afa de mo say scanned ayi pin sheets bi Majibia free MPP for Homundi Behesho declare results. How does it happen that way? Enti only contempo ni frudia the manini kai enuntina aka ho omuntimi declare no. That is it. After the IGP mau security na who conduct election one kasa ugidi say ade amekwa akoyi ya babu mepe say unu say nya papa na okoye so that is it. Until the simple solution ye twam ne ka say ye koto no biem ana ye koto specific polling stations here ye ni resource wa me hu nipa ekotia no enti obi obeka say ekotia no na che say waye bibi wo mu ampa no de fake scan things she say nyina so declare na utrimu fine say nipa no to ma enti wo mbesan to ama wa adenti ne ka say ye san koto no biem a wo say wo mpene e che say bibi shem enunti na omuntimi nto no eno nso wo de eno ka sal ho a sufficient charges e betumi apam electoral commission for no.
And you think so much senka ba na kro mo kodada
se bibia sinsuo mu a wo yi na ma ko
Asiedu Nketia aba so de usimwa wonano untumiri
hurinsi yenye uyi makusa sanu
je say dey ebedro biso
untumi che one ayinum nyina bo mu a sanka enye fa
okay
so ECG asem wo ho yenchi obi a wo ho
ba mo ba chi obi
ebe ba pe Koko board de ho yenchi obia enti esori ye ne ka se yen listi wo munyina ya chi wo munyina to ansia se enye fine
ti ye sinsuo mu
untimi
ti ye na makoma
yes enti
ene be dro bi so
enyina ye wuda kura ho ne besi ye
the Asiedu Nketia, the national chairman of the ruling NDC. Honorable, one city levy who asemaba. I baby obia chede dem which dem obia tiase. One city. Yes, they are to petrol so they are to diesel so aye wran. Then I walk home. Tiase anything.
Me there say many President Mahama. Nka me twen ma MPP fo aye demonstration no say petrol bon e ho no wo mompe so ya DCC amanfo nti demonstration no ko na wie ya na nwumre no ne di petrol bon no akoba bia na MPP fo ye beto so pe say we listening government
Everybody yago. I'm sorry.
Because I don't know, I told you 17 per liter. What's here and yet they are as low as 12 for them.
Maybe cracked on 10 star 10.
What's here and no yet Okoye who demonstration. So per se, 17, what do you know?
It's the uncle there.
Do you hear they are 17? Let's just say, listening government, Yati will be asked and prepare demonstration. Maka Yati at the Bay Juma. Because at the Bay and Najuma Nasim me. Moma Boka billions. A war energy sector. They say more ye a pricing electricity pricing formula no. Sika na mo de to diesel any crude oil ye de power energy no bi no thermal plants no bi no eno ho ka kura de mu mfamfra mo formula no because wo di ba mu a ye be ka say wo be ko election enti electricity tariff akosoro ye beto ati amenti memfa nka ho ye mungu ho obi be ba bitua ena no be say 3 billion go ho ena de was so aye a 3 billion no danche no kura no sesi ya de ye ran no kura no osumi bia wo
e kaeba
e ka be billion so e wo ha e ba enti ye wie so wasan so ria begira ho se ai won se ye firi ho na dum so e ba na kana obogu ho no e oh pataku ko na sifie na okodi bone na o dwane firi ho enti obi firi akura na ase ebe to no no se o ba na de asem na na omo
wow wouldn't the wire
go
yeah but to akwati be
o ba na de asem na omo kan o machi
de o ye na
no an ye kan so enti e kai gu ho eno pa ho a sa millennium challenges kasemo amoye eno so ye mpompo da ho ye nyam ko ho nkura ni nyina ena sa importation of cables no ne manema say ye hia kura na mutimi import gumu sa e ba yentimi nton yentimi nkle kura na muguso a mo awodo contract a ye import bi gumu say no so wo ho a ese be kan ye nyanko ho kura ye pe na ye tira ye yie anshi se papa nti ama dollar no a ye de ekoto crude na ade no dollar no bo abafom ne bo ba fam yi na ama because sa exchange rate no e ka formula ne ma ye consider crude oil no price exchange rate enum nyina ka ho ne etime determine price enti dollar boy ba fam no na che say briefing space wo ho a yetimiti petrol no so na yete so na yeko ne yete so ne yeko ende aka say petrol ye 17 aba say abedru be ye 12 ye wani da so say be san akofom biem enti yemfa 1 cd ento so ye jeje a ye de akwa kotua eka no so amobọ no wo eyi enkane ho no na enkane betima rane petrol sem betima rane we betima rane a eno bone ayaye ne sei ana sa 1 cd no se drivers ye wo man mu ni passenger fo nyina wo ka se wo monto abanchu su se Ghana enkane nyina bedum na petrol bo be 5 cds ya o ha de o hinan ka wo mechu su driver no ko adwuma ba o mafie o yare koda hospital anya kane na ye de be no operation
exactly
enunti no se uni mama mu aka se minimum mamu ba ye de wo mo ye no ti se de asif se 1 cd no ye jeje a na de akogu president Mahama Botom ye jeje de asolve kane anu so problem ai be magana fo anya kane a ejina so na yasan anya petra ne bo eno nso eye manageable sa na ebu oman enti oman no sika edibu oman no eye oman no musika na edibu oman no president bi ani magic so okofa sika bi afri ba bi o but say obi bebu man no yie ne de wo mu no yie no ejina wo priorities sika no nie enti min so bibibia enti de ohin ne de ohin na obeye no kane na de ohin na obema na twen enti abanya wuntimi nye sa prioritization no eje se wonya aban papa na ye de enim se energy hono kane anu begina so no eye priority petrol bo ye priority but ye try ye anya ba bi aso ama petrol bo no e ba fomu anti se bi ye betimi ayi bi e de akosolve we ni anya petrol anya kania o se enye de a eche se wo bo no a o ja no ho no na eye mebo a 17 no Monko ye mu demonstration ade eche ane de ye say we are a listening government ye de ade na ko 17 so ana Sabi yenu anuma driver for a nanka omo Otumfo agu omo ani so say they say 1 cedi no ebe ha manfo 1 cedi be ha manfo passenger for sabi previous and omo num petrol
passenger for omo num petrol
no aka say petrol no boy identity passenger for ha omo the passenger for ye ne say obetena car mu a Asiedu Addo
ewo form simple say so ko form
enna driver so ono taxi a eda petrol no so no enye no ne ha no petrol bo a auto no
ebe ko form
ama no enti se taxi bi wo na say petrol bo no ko form a wo say driver nko demonstration say on demonstrate na bo no san ko soro ana
ya de to ato so ade ne ba form
ba form wo say chenchina ba form kura ato no de mpese yi free so enti yenyi free so say MPP wo na sa ato no say eni ho a okay yenyi free so na ade no san ko soro ne enti wo hwa enti asiye nim na afi so unim de ye mentan kura wo sa MPP fo ne ye we hu ne say da bia wo mu jaka wo ho na yen ya ba bebo ye belt ne akwa correct sa ne manoa eye se ne ma tuto na kwa mu a ese gala we mo nko ne yakotena ba bi na o mo asan ba na o mo asan be se ya de no abruka na gu ho ebrebi so ya dumso no ba e na ka se e ka na eda energy sector institutions no mu a e wo ho no eso enunti no sector bia e wo challenge ECG e wo challenge VR4 wo challenge independent power producers omu nyina e wo challenge enti ba bia aka wo ho na wo mo eye transmission omu great co e ho so challenge wo ho na e ka se ase nya scat once kura no a why de ne ntu aka ne utua ba ko no ntua ba ko a system no nyina enrane enti yempeto obi na sika a ebetoto no mu no bosomi bia na ya cheche no according to some formula great co for nya kakra ECG for nya kakra wenmu nya kakra ena yebu nkonta na ye ka se energy sector levy ya de ba yebu akonta hu se emfie num pepepe ye betimi ate sa energy sector ka no nyina firi ho ena eno ne ka na de ba nti eno ne igina so approve esla no e de to ho nti esla no am say running for I think 2 years pay or so ye free akonwa so now all these energy sector institutions no because of impact of esla no na ebia ayi balance sheet ayi blue ya ka accounting mu blue a chese inflation kakra wo ho red ya na chese kada ho enti e free so no na obia wo blue kakra ya chese enso de ba ne nim se anamo wan yetu no ebebo ama ye energy sector na gina ena ye ko yenso America forecast say won be ma esika na yemfa moa ye development no
and what your topic na see aban afutuo che so mekere mo kwan se ne ye buman e ma oman e successful kwadu omo ye die enhyeda nya de bebo oman Ghana enti they should make themselves available say be ya NPP e be kire wo mo kwa fa so ye buman they are ready and they are available to teach them how to govern and be successful enti eno ye honorable Kwadwo Opon Kroma de eja wode abehwime no yewra kwa me pianim e ka asem bi e wo Jubilee House and I think say very important now or ka say a teacher for Akuffo Addo promise wo 10,000 housing units was a blog kura wanto to obesere president Mahama say so say wo ye resetting there and ye on kai sa asem no so betimi aye bibia fa ho a na I think say no there was a program e wo Jubilee House akwa me pianim wo ye obi a wanyi a NPP modi mu akotene corruption ne de keka ho de wo kasetia wono so kwakire na adwen said near corruption ekos wo Ghana ne said ye yanhwe ya ebetimi amakuru ya bo or chile na dwen e wo kwan ya obetu president Mahama for say obetimi tu ho anamo see the first 5 minutes ebi ansem ni bi wo kra ekos wo krom and social media ye fa analyze ye wi na afa yakọ next strike no eso.
Okay, yeah. I think that we catch say leadership and the governance in this animal get cheaper and cheaper on daily basis, and we've gotten to a point there are some people or more behavior on the political stage, and until people don't take politics leadership serious anymore. Because very often the very people you expect much from them, no one omokasa what to one Obamabu. And this gentleman, over his life has been on radio, on TV, Kasa, as we are seeing and as a phone now on the team, but Onua Kenya and Akuffo Addo, that privilege was handed over to him. This is a gentleman who could not even manage government information, basic thing information. He could not even manage it because within the media or get it so dirty and milkier in the history of this country. The Akuffo Addo government, and this guy was in charge of managing government information. So Onua Nkasa portfolio na he was a failure. You know, he was a change obedient as a foreign buyer. So clearly give you the signals of what the kind of person he is. At some point in time, he now was a YouTube channel or a podcast as a minister of state. In the dying days of the year going into the election, that was what he was doing. So, and I'm sometimes it's very easy, very cheap, just to make those sweeping comments in a statement, but the reality dawn on you. And he had that opportunity. Yes, Oyagana knew Kenya to teach Mahama and NDC how to govern and so forth. The question is, before you set yourself to teach somebody, the question is, when you had, it's not as if you've not had opportunity to be in power. What I say, if Odikeka say, and I say any of the opposition parties now winning an opportunity to taste power before I say, or Mahama how to govern, I'll pay attention and listen to what they have. But these are guys, these jokers recently were booted out of power because of historic incompetence and recklessness when it comes to governance, leadership. And the Akuffo Addo regime, we all saw what happened in this country. And the era no abaye a tainted way. I leave an indelible ink on the conscience of Ghanaians. Abaye a nightmare. Ghana don't even want to remember what happened in the last 8 years. And your friends saying within the information space, journalists in this country, how many were hounded? How many were attacked? Journalists were chased out of this country. At the time, journalists were assaulted. Some were kept in prison in as a form back and forth because they were doing their job, criticizing government and bringing the critical issues to bear. This guy was a minister of state. What's in the voice?
Yeah, baby.
So, Anamakacho said, answer now you set out to speak, you know, you need to make sure that you have credibility. Maybe you are somebody people will take serious. You matana on my way, so and in the last 80 years, you know, if there is any government I deem useless in this country, in the history of this country, it's the Akuffo Addo government, and he was part of it. The blueprint is there, and we can just go through, if nothing at all, look at the economy of this country, the way and manner. Even the city, they could not manage it. City, we got to a point where prices of everything was over the bar, and I don't can be a Ghana for dear before now. Akuffo Addo, the history of this country, a billion cedar. And that government wasn't just about mismanaging competence and as a for Onua Nkasa, family and friends, state capture and as a forum, use state entities, yes, some special purpose vehicle just to ensure that money will go into the pockets of the cronies and friends of government. At the time, where was he? You understand? These are shameless bunch of individuals who always take the stage because politics has become cheap, because credibility doesn't matter in our politics anymore. You can just say anything and get away, because these are guys and almost said them because of what they have done to the people of this country. Because Ghanaians had hope, high confidence in the Akuffo Addo government bringing all these people on board and as a forum, because it was somebody, several other people who have been within the space coming on board. No, people felt so. Akuffo Addo plug from intellectual kind of way, omoba just to bring some intellectualism to bear. But not the day it turned out to be idea young who be there in the history of this country. Recklessness upon recklessness, incompetence upon incompetence, mismanagement, your friends are corruption. Just and out of that, they are two about just to your friends play your cards well, just to win the goodwill on the side of the people. Now, I'm for taking you serious. You are out there talking nonsense, because if there is anybody to be taught how to govern, I think that they should sit back and learn what is going on. Because John Mahama Baye, yes, a very young koye, but clearly you could see few signs here. The dollar is stable. Petrol now for the 17 city, despite taxes and as for about muye de nina and Rameko. Your first filling station we call check away 11.59 something.
Maybe I'm at 10.99.
Exactly. So
10.99.
People were buying your first petrol at 17, and as for I'm told that cement price about for my from 140 and then minimum ton say 92 say 82 thereabout. These are the kind of relief a Ghana for and this is governance. I am not saying say it's the best, but for where we are. And if we do any comparative analysis, there is no way with the last 6 months way what has transpired, or be compared to what happened in the last 8 years. Yeah. So I think that these guys should just shut up. Usually they don't know how to keep quiet. You understand? And I think that most of them are turning out to be attention-seeking freak. When they lose power, now quite a China. I'm for so very often, as all can be a month so. But when they were in power, they were all quiet. You understand? Sure. Because there was a time when people needed Kojo Ponkroma with his media joy, whatever experience, just to rise against the tide and their course within the space. Government information bars was sinking, and this is a journalist. At the end of the day, they couldn't save it. You couldn't even save your outfit to the sense that Akuffo Addo government got drowned in the kind of way and someone lost the information war because it got to a point that people were not even ready to go on TV and go on radio to defend the party because there was absolutely nothing to defend. It was utter nonsense that was being bandied around all over. So I think that these guys should just shut up. Watch what is happening. They are Ghanaians. It's democracy. Mahama Mamone and yeah, DBR right. So as a citizen, you can bring the government attention. That is what you can do. But to say the Ghana for Monsieur MPP, if MPP as a political party in the last 8 years had anything to offer to the people of this country, a chrono, recklessness, incompetence, and the economy, and unfortunately enough, look at where the dollar is getting a bit stable. Petrol prices in as a forum, and ya to anywhere chrono a course who chroma and yard because I'm a catcher say, wound to me as a person sika that was invested in him as an individual, as to change sika called Ashanti region. Because I'm still searching, say there is no single project in Ashanti region that was started and Akuffo Addo was completed. The cost, anywhere close to about $55 or $60 million. But this guy, 8 million, 45 million plus extra 10 million. Yeah, the forest man, sika onya over quantifier over millions of dollars. But there is no single project in the Florida of the MPP at the Ashanti region where they get their vote. I won't say project way say that the people are benefiting. There is none. It tells you the kind of government or mobile. You understand? Yeah. It was an avenue they created to satisfy their insatiable greed. Just to extend good wishes to their cronies, allies. Akuffo Addo by Nabusia for and Nam for them. You see the way they enjoyed. When that thing was going on, nobody spoke. And the matter says second for Atabusia for bold enough to issue when the nonsense was going around, when the guy was foolishly borrowing, when the guy was using his personal way just to offer advice to finance ministry borrowing na family no the nonsense that was being thrown around, the family didn't see the need to intervene. Ghana for bread. Even MPP ministers and partner MP sorry say no. Yankasa ne party ni afono yen ade a kanofurata ye no. The family member, the family people na omonya kokodro. You see an American, there is no shame in the society where we live. When the gentleman was foolishly out there dissipating the resources of this country, Yantin the family member because they were enjoying traveling first class and as for Kocaine and as for them. When these people were foolishly using our money to go and dig a hole in the name of cathedral, where were they? You understand? Is that the kind of good governance Kojo Ponkroma is talking about? I think that these guys are a bunch of shameless people. nobody on his right senses will take them serious. They should just shut up and watch what is happening. And Americano, they can either transform themselves into a competent opposition party, or they can be what they are today, a very useless one, very incompetent even in opposition. And we've gotten to a point, I think that Ghana for coming to understand politics to a extent. So you see, some of these cheap politics and this kind of street propaganda don't win any value. They don't have any currency. If you want to convince the average young person out there, say, dwell on the issues, the critical issues, because politics and what then the comparative analysis will come. I just said the last 8 years of Akuffo Addo, the indelible scar I leave on the conscience of our democracy. Ghana for will free that. Yeah. So an agent of that particular government, any right to come and educate anybody on governance. When Ukraine dollar and Asofo Addo, they were telling us nonsense. Say Ukraine-Russia war, and Ukraine-Russia war, you see, these are a bunch of shameless guys, and America say you're cheaping politics, and it's the reason why people don't take politicians serious anymore.
Yeah.
And Ghana Nibia who politician not will be a con man, because that is how we've created. We've made it in such a way, say, we have power now. Whoever you want to satisfy, whether I agree with the party team and I agree in the team, we draw all of them because I know that they know there is no bit of intellectualism, idiocy taking over the political space, even at the hub of governance and leadership and so forth. So it liberates some of these fools to come into the politics. They do the worst that they can. Just imagine a fool who has been given a free ride in power. Because our power will be a bit. So I think that Ghanaians are really getting serious. You see, let us do intellectual discourse. Now you follow the issue and you know what to talk about, and criticize government, because these are some of the things I ever just to shape in the whole political landscape, for the benefit of not even those in power, but for the average and the ordinary Ghanaian. It is not about my better opposition. There can be a negative. Nanka Petro both miteba from Nakwabrande say me demonstration. When it was 17, demonstration, because there will be goodwill. Abraham 17. Why didn't you tell people to demonstrate? You understand? Yeah. So, and America said these people are really advertising who they really are. And your friends are pretending to be intellectuals, but in reality, they are not. That was why the last time I told you, say, we prioritize a certificate. When I'm a certificate, say, what did you agree in the party? Because your castle will be an intellectual. Very often, you don't need to go to your house. Yeah. Work of our certificate about what the hell be your no casa. People should know, this guy. You understand? But this all courses would certificate that's what we do. That means what I said. Empty. We must begin to demonstrate to people, say, we are really intellectuals and but empty. That can be assessed in the way and manner we think, we speak. Say, baby, man for confidence, inspire, man for. Because in the last 6 years, I am very fresh on the minds of Ghanaians. Why will any person in the Akuffo Addo government and the near Ghana for corruption? I will come now. Kwabranye Tibenya Kukudu no better radio say they should come on school. Now, I'm journalists and sometimes they create a free room for some of this nonsense to thrive. Now, besides in the last 8 years, information ministry were you able to manage it? You understand? The warfare, the information warfare, and the Akuffo Addo government, and the government got drawn because you could not defend the kind of Neman for kind of social media. Yeah. It got to a point that the Akuffo Addo government was out. People were not even out there defending the government, but he was the information minister. So for him, he's an article of incompetent. But because fortunately they had media platform, then as a phone, they were able to convince people, say, more credibility. But they came to government and exposed themselves. So for me, these guys should be disregarded. They are all attention-seeking freak. They are fading into obscurity. They are fading into irrelevance. And sometimes, in order just to your friends are kicking people to know that is when they begin to make some of these foolish statements. Because in some now cannot bear any reasonable way when the track record of the party, even your own people admit it, is the worst version of the NPP that we've ever had in this country. I told you, sir, when you sit down and do the NDC MPP comparison, I don't even fall for them, because the Kufuor version of the MPP isn't what Akuffo Addo brought. Akwasa me last time I catch us akwasa war Benz na wo de war your fence aka na omo de fa nipa na kase no 207. Yeah. no be behind so the cover sort of for whenever I was not the could be punching in baby. The MPP as a political party was hijacked by these criminals. And on what they so the actual Akuffo MPP wasn't the MPP. You understand? These are a bunch of criminals who hijack the political entity called the MPP and use it for their criminal activities. And all of them are part of it. You understand? Because they were benefiting. Because if not, why will anybody on his right senses, after seeing all that has happened in this country, will be able to be bold enough and come to the media space and say, oh, Momra, you want to how to govern? I think, you see, they do this because they don't respect the people of this country. And maybe they are still living in the past. Maybe some of the guys in the MPP they don't realize where Ghana is at the moment. Now. You see, they still think, say, we are in the 2000s where those cheap propaganda don't fly. But then I'm telling you, say, Obi Asebi owns school demu dakrano. What a children or a lecture on politics are we show. Sure. Do you know why? Because there is a free flow of information within the space. Now, so for whatever you believe it or not, there are a lot of tons of information going out there. People are reading, people are getting a bit enlightened. You understand? First, you know, and yes, I emotions, me as anti-me, I want to need me a way kind of politics, and that's how go off. People are beginning to follow issues based on the cons and the pros in it. How I stand to benefit as a Ghanaian, and the larger governance sequence, you know, how is it going to impact on the future? Me as a young person, look at the level of desperation that Ghanaians went through in this country. And then I hear documentary we are Ghana for young people call Russia say omo kwa kontokwa ebinuma ba omo nan ba ko obi sin nyina she na nu nyina artificial and as for course okotia bomb so just say it's so messy. Because of the desperation that was chasing people out of this country. And people were making millions. People were pocketing millions. This gentleman knew Onua Akoso under the MPP. And today, suddenly, no, saying, yes, sir, these guys are shameless. And within 6 months, will you be bold enough to be doing some of these things? So I think that you see, politics is not cheap, you know. Because in any serious country, you know, you will not have some of these characters running around the media space trying to criticize Obi because the moral conviction and the moral justification for those things are not there. When you have messed up, mess in our creating, we are not even junk. Your friends saying clean it up. Yes, can't want some kind and then you are out there talking nonsense. But in your politics, they're cheaper. Why would people even give ears to some of these things?
All right, and what do I say for the whole week, you know? And come as say you'll be any abra ye necessary one more aqua strike and nipa a wunyasem ketwa and I know na make a madam for bisi makam and yema say maybe madam for you a ye juma e wo mochre na make or say no be ye juma mochre na fa na for am say na da nye juma na information I know de ma me na ahomete say enipa e wu no che say wo mo dwene ho mo nti ase dem de ya wo mu kra ye obi wo hono ma ne de no nke hyeda nye ade bia ye serious bia sa na so ye de be ko na sanse nurses no striker even first aid kura be ye de no nipa ne prea no wa famawu there was a video anope na me kan wase ma me hu wo Facebook na lady no asumwa se ne ofa yare ye de ne ko hospital nurse ni no ewe ne ofa na yire nanim ka che ne se omo wo strike no wo ho em say that time no na omo fa krado nkotu mu but o ka che ne se omo wo strike em omo san ye se omo tam papa na ko private hospital omo andru na owuye na lady ni ye video wo Facebook na wo ka se nurse ni no wada na se say or share the wofa nanim ka che se omo wo strike na ne fofa no akwa kowu enkwa de ye ba akopɛ enti ye ka nkwa ho asɛm ane owu asɛm a ye de ani bre ane passion ane eka demands na ye nuanom nurses for na ye no agya me ye sure say Ivan ye wanim sem but ye me mbobo so say be ye agya Ghana fo be hu de ye kan hu asɛm wo ma asɛm mo ka mo pe uniform allowance wo mo pe tools allowance tools no minimara se mpania ne niema omode ye surgery ne mpane niema ekeka ho no eno ne tools no omo pe no so omo so personal tools bia because the minimum say nurses there and as a hospital esiwa e ya ban adwum asede so make sure say equipment and as logistics egum nurse ni no unim de and I require juma. And see gloves to cry what the best one son. A yaban said yes, I was so tomau. And see sa allowance no more pedia come a cut ya on well. I don't know, say a bambe jais and your man to no mumako todia. Almost pay additional duty allowance. Almost pay call in allowance. Almost pay commuted overtime allowance. Almost pay permanent posting allowance. Temporary posting allowance. Almost pay funeral grants. In fact, funeral grants no crowd here and yes, perpetual says are buying to me to no you say 100 million Ghana cedis. O tria e bi on be consider funeral grants. Funeral grants in I say, o this year be where was buying to was eba osika. Enti minimum how they are going to calculate it. Is it as and when I would this year na wu and every month be an year they say sika na ka ho amount. What they trying say would this year be wu and what I don't know. But and a fuel allowance. But allowance is now maybe boss on a be or my executive ne pen benefit. Nurses no crown or my strike and then some of them will not even benefit. Some fuel in yard will be or nurse in our cost strike will be a perpetual name executive no high for no money binya. And I'm up 13th allowance, 13th month allowance. I'm up on-call facilitation allowance. I'm up non-basic allowance. And I'm up height allowance. Height allowance ni say almost say hospitals ni bu ono ma ya bansura to aso 1 2 3 intebu ho abo froko first floor second floor to the more now all co floor ne all co soro no heights omo per allowance and omo per disability guard allowance to say bia obi aba hospital na say bia nani afira ana ebia oti wheelchair mu a e wo se nurse ni ne piano ana nani afira nurse ni be so ne nsa no na kwetena ha saa niema na wo mo yema disabled people no wo mo pe ho allowance so eno ne nkoma a eda table so a na ka 2024 1st July and Akuffo Addo aban assign ye in fact all kind document now or say and it shall be implemented from 1st July 2024 shall na se woni nyina chi omo implement it nti afa na nurse fo ne ni abra omo se omo ju omo allowance nti innocent asema da prono so no.
Yeah, I think my mention the legendary KSM.
Hey, and your uncle senior. Yes, salute too. Yeah,
he's a great man, always, you know. Contribution to whatever that is happening. I think he's amazing. Yes, yeah, I think this nurses demonstration strike thing is very pathetic. Because some of the entities no more render essential services. Nurses, doctors, police officers, military, those kind of way, because services are such that whenever you revoke your services, you put human life at risk. So that's and the money your friend is saying very way. Anti-constitution, no, labor law, no outline processes, because be peeved about the working condition, salary, or you cannot stop people from expressing dissatisfaction about the conditions of service. And as near my goal, no, there are a whole lot, because I'm telling you, sir, being at the hospital, the risk involved in some of the things that you do.
I am a innocent or a nurse.
Yes.
So when you are innocent or a nurse, and well, almost is a funeral grant to you. Oh, and how about the height allowance?
So yeah, I think that is very pathetic. Sometimes I know a medical doctor now or performing procedure on somebody. And and I think that there was a gush of blood, a puba, and a good name. Unfortunately, the person was HIV positive.
Jesus
so what
Christ.
It means is
automatically.
I'm saying all this just for people to appreciate the depth of issues now. And now I've always been advocating, say, you see, emolument structure in this country, you know, are very pathetic. But the same person, your first near mana nurses a demand some of the conditions near mana woman, some are absolutely nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. It doesn't make sense. And me, I don't blame nurses, I blame the leadership. Because you see, nursing leadership over the years has been very, very, very pathetic. It's the reason why most of the young guys and girls coming in, will be a film. So nurse in your ya na wa divert na call abaya anesthetic obi call na acquire way. Everybody's moving away from the space because leadership over the years no okọ maame for na omo bet no mo ko ho. They don't even think about the welfare. I remember that was a time they were paying nurses student allowance. Yes, maame for nurses sika no sondodo ama nurses for ni edwe. So this is the leadership. They don't fight for their own. So over the years, nursing leadership has been very pathetic. Very, very, and nurses know. Even go to the various ward that your friend is a metro for no more no. They don't even care about their own nurses. They always advocating for Nema. You can go to a hospital and say, okay, what is now more no? Yeah, more allowance. You bet me my nurse need 100 Ghana cedis. Me my doctor need maybe 2,000 Ghana cedis. Look at the gap. But metro no will not see anything wrong with it. Yes, but nurse Opo will spending much time at the bedside, do all the dirty jobs. It's the nurse. And there are facilities you go, there is no nurse. But the same facility, no, I'm no we are near child doctor. Nurse is not in our money.
Yeah, money be need.
I will not blame them. It's the leadership that is there because they don't know all that they are interested in. I bet your money.
Yeah,
they don't care about the work. So over the years, I never way you know na burogusua ma do na film do now because you see that there is no future because of bad leadership and there are things that it's not even right to say, but I think that's very, very terrible. But yeah, with him. Said yes, no. I'm worried about the kind of politics in this country because so what is happening within the space now. We cannot be sitting with GMA today. Doctors now more the aba na ya kwa demonstration we are na ya teachers na ya kwa we are na ya nurses na ya kwa na ya way. There is no country that will survive doing that. So for me, I think that we need to look at our emolument structure aggressively. Now you say why they take a risk at the hospital? Who's make a candidacy for the show? But don't forget that police in here deployed so on bank and so it's the same. It's at the same risk. Because at bank in I'm Robert Bar. He's the first person.
I'm better get it.
So you wait me now young guys bullion vine and for a so you come what I say. So everybody is at risk. So as government, I think that what we need to do and they say Yabaka Sanya money boom. Now you assess the risk level of all these individuals. Now you draw a comprehensive package. I cover some of these. In the absence of this, then some of these things are likely. Or we are marked somewhere. Doctors will come.
Teacher for
will come. And with the government, it becomes a trade of nonsense. Always you are in banter. And Nippon Sunim say, and I'm saying there are more bargaining advantage because our withdrawal services are you be in hot waters. Until they will continue to do some of these things to you. So I think that one of the things that and their emolument structure because there are nurses a weird degree. As for them, salary bring take 3,500, 4,500 as for them. What I say, and very pathetic. So for me, I think that we need to look at the basic salary structure. Now you're making sure say you improve on. Then as for them, about demonstration strike and also. Now you improve on. Now you must say. Baby and the panel here, Obia is okay with the own yan and as a form. And I think that say to me, yes, I mana. A better key away this bargaining chipper. Very often, some of these entities and hold government to ransom. Or my SM, I will draw my services and as a form. Conditions of service will be here. Now I will tell you your conditions of service. Here, but you see, sometimes the way you go about it. And there are roadmap. And this particular strike, and I think say to be very honest with you, because you see, this and is up.
I was striking. We are now Kwejuma.
Oh, maybe can't striking. Yeah, because of the same nursing leadership.
Okay.
Issue need very confusing. People don't understand. You be a free baby. Emotions.
Okay.
Sa package na ye kan na sa your friends say package na ye kan was a collective way na agreement na omo make here no it's a paper under Akuffo Addo government omo te ase e na ye fe omo agree but components na ewom no people did not pay attention to Niema na ewom because at the time now we were going into elections Akuffo Addo government at the time no could not afford to be engaging nurses back and forth because once it was going to affect the government. At the time, okay. So, on the package in the bar say package in the they agree on virtually everything.
Rally so Akwaba. Yeah,
they agreed on everything.
Okay.
And now, the government then can say,
yeah,
you cannot blame Akuffo Addo government in this because they were going to implement it. Then the nurses, psychiatry nurses took the issue to court through a nurse party. Said no. Agreement no more agree no. And yeah, dear say GRA in the no mother body no because then the bodies be braba no. And no one transit, and no one can. And the one agreement no my be one transit into the issue no court. Issue no court and then the psychiatric nurses won. So back and forth issue no court to no pull it out to be no. Now you January. Now you January yo Akuffo Addo took off ye ama mahama aba ama yaba January. Budgets at the time no already had been prepared. Government didn't just sika de bia kwata me na wo de ya de. So the reason why I'm blaming nursing leadership say omo ye involved enti na de we Akuffo Addo implement am omo. Komo de court no ne back and forth ni nyina wie no na election is over. Enti me na me Akuffo Addo I'll be happy because the burden has been what I say.
Burden na free so.
Good. But you see let's say governance is continuum. The mere fact that Akuffo Addo ensign doesn't mean that John Mahama ensign. Fine. This is a government that is barely 6 months old. Yeah. There are structural former or a cost of baby government require for
and certain way you and forming way.
And you can still press and engage the government with your concern, but to threaten and say that may cause strike when the procedure and the processes that are outlined won't follow. People have taken a very belligerent position. They say, we are done, and they say, Yamaba. And I've listened to a couple of interviews or granted, which you could see clearly intellectually she's very, very febrile. In some no kind of say, Obi mature mind will not be making such comments, and either she's motivated by politics or whatever, I don't know. Obia or concern what he has a woman ya first but the way she's doing as if that is a government that has been in power for like 3 years and on engaging. This is a government that has been in power for barely 6 months. You cannot declare strike within 6 months when negotiations with the government hasn't gone on. And Sanya Mana Kosunina, Nona, Emma Manfo say, okay, Sanadia, Nemana Mubisano, young Kona young Koshim. Yakobia Krata near Koshima. Kwabrane say me ye adwuma wa abrosan so first floor meji 2 CD 50 pesos a day. Say third floor 20 centimeters meji 3 CDs a day. And me ye adwuma fifth floor na that's for no meji 5 CDs a day. Yeah. Who on his right senses as a government will agree to this pack of nonsense? Say see it here. Okay.
First floor.
And what here is meant to budget salary at channel because of the floor. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I sympathize with my salary and very bad. So this energy they could have confronted government not in salary. Catch on the basic salary now and we deserve better. Yes, don't put up this nonsense. And yes, make floor back make floor me. People will not even take it serious. But Akuffo Addo government did not pay attention to those things because
election
but and the government now all try to reset through look at so now they were saying answer anymore what be what I say and I was expecting question on nurses in Penifon by catching up by say first now the be we had nurse now the car if Rabontain by a free man and that thing has been taken away. I was expecting nursing leadership to be fighting for those things. Dr. Sidia has been put on hold. These are sensible things bizarre nipa we are serious. What I say and again almost a funeral grant.
Aye, funeral grant.
Does it make sense? And the amount of money involved is over 600 million.
600 million Ghana.
Funeral grounds in what sense? Like, funeral we no abanya djuma no obi nya bi nchen obi o and I make say the risk obi ade ho but ya say aban agree to some of these and I'm telling you so everything na teacher ni ya say almost so munya risk ugina akasa from anapako say anwumre no so you see a time will come we are going to open the floodgate obi abeba say funeral because of what funeral grant amobia you have to
pay for a teacher.
Adia ba kwa yesa make sense in the woman 13th month no you see 13th month no there are companies omutia I was working for a company Christmas they will pay you double they do but you see this a policy you cannot introduce to a section of workers what I say you because 13th month you know say you widen to policy in here 13th month.
Yeah.
So you cannot exclusively say you 13th month. It's going to create agitation. Doctors will come and ask for 13th month. And America, you see, when you have that collective bargaining chip, you know, as an entity, now who make it demands, be reasonable. Say, yeah, some no can. Mami, I say okay, because any day. So be a nurse salary, yeah, I'll be the first person to fight. Yes, salary, yeah. Let us make sure, say, we pay nurses well. Because how can a degree nurse be working and be taking 4,000? I cried 4,000 times.
Yeah, for now rent to cry.
Exactly.
Rent to
So as a nursing leadership, you know, these are some of the things you engage government with. Allowances and so forth, they are good, but you see, very often when you are advocating for allowances, people don't take you serious. But when you want salary discussion, and I know there are roadmap and so forth, but you see, when that particular thing is very aggressive, you want the government in your engagement because of the work you do. The salary structure to a certain extent, you know, can be improved on.
Yeah.
But some of these demands and you see that the whole thing has become a subject of public ridicule.
Yeah.
For a kind of science, so they now one set now for become funeral. So when you do that, you bring yourself, people will expose you. Or may pick up some of the things and I will feel no, not yet. And again, one thing people don't understand is GRNA. A nurses entity organization, a mother body association, and then nurses for you. What people don't know, they say, Oko, your friend is a health sector now. Some person will engage your banya. The bargaining chip now, yadama entities, you know, health sector now, or what time or the GRNA, the mother body. So on a legitimately, ultimately, buying her. And bargaining certificate no no bargaining. But yeah, very I people don't know. They say, sa entity way, entity made up of those who work in the private sector. Every single nurse, whether you work for government or not, you are part of this organization. So we are nurse you, ma banyo, we nurse ma banyo. So there is a possibility say obi beti me ba GRNA president abra onye aban adwuma ma aban e trust hospital.
Okay. Okay,
Onya private hospital, but on the GRA way. So, Sani party ne dia banya akwa negotiate on workers. We're dealing with government, so I buying workers. It's not about private. So the partner oh dear ni ma ko obokom kra na onya adwuma ma ban. I don't know whether you get the picture.
What can I say? Because I didn't remember young Klana at here for yes. I'm innocent here, nurse. Into the man the time to explain it better. It's the innocent. I mean, I see and say Ghana registered nurses who are body no are perpetual no and the dear anymore as the president. No, we are nurse or Ghana and Kwadia. You are part of this association, whether private or government. We are under this mother body. And no money, I'm bargaining power. It's here be crying out. Make us a perpetual yejuma ma by me baby or yejuma. I'm not interested. Be not perpetual crano or yejuma ma me private hospital be cry me call.
Yes.
Me call private hospital. Every crano hono yejuma. But because I am nurse, I under this body you know. Why rise your benya position?
Yes.
So I bargainia private hospital no omo cost strike. It is a by the striker and yenasem.
Yes.
Because
I think exactly. I think that okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And say nipa na private nurse and some na omo fight for hono kra na e bin kano. So they can do whatever that they want. That is the
benefit
that is the bad aspect of it. So at the end of the day, no, people will not take. So for instance, I'm not saying that it could be possible. Say, all the head nurses, leaders from private hospitals, and these private hospital workers, you know, and the people who are going to lead charge with government, engage government for those working in government sector. Does it make sense?
No,
you understand? And people will not even take it serious. You understand?
By expansion. Strike no crab private hospitals.
Yes. Exactly the point. I don't know maybe not private so because you see our what capacity be able private hospital.
Yes. So you see how Akuffo Addo way nyina but as we try bebre omo kire wase.
Yeah.
Oh, what I say. Exactly. So for me I think the roadmap na down and the labor commission the assembly court.
Yeah.
They are calling nurses to come back, but still, the woman they are sort of baby a Zoom call and so I think that the political undertones was our name and the money are very pathetic. For when they call hospital now, when they would, I don't even want to go there because some of these things are very way. But the thing is that we are building a country. Every strike action be an premise on established rules of engagement. That is okay. And you see, Senka John Mahama Banway, and last year, our and a banner say only implement here, then you have a case. But we are talking about a government that is 6 months older. Yet here your deputy minister of health.
Be I can't don't 1 man.
What I say? So give you say even government nucleus now here forming a crowd binding yeah. So you give the government time to settle. And what settle we know? Opa kofa we asem kwasa asem nyina gu paper so bra. What settle we na wo ne say the bargaining there your bargaining power na be kire wo. O say opa furu na opa whatever na say otimi e bargaining na o win that one there. And let the government settle. Or settle down, I wouldn't have that back and front. Now that is okay. But budget has already been written. The amount of money involved with is over 2 billion. I have the document.
Yeah, I say 4 billion. No?
Yes, I have
4 billion every month.
I have the document with me. And the governance in yes, to acquire what I said. You need to go through. So for me, in as much as I sympathize with nurses, the challenges in as for mu go through in as for no. Quina leadership now for so no. In this particular regard, no, it's in bad faith. It's an ambush. And ya wouldn't say, your friend is saying, I didn't know no. Psychiatry nurses and as for said they are not part of this strike action because they think say and midwives, as I say at you, they have an association. Or most of the, I listen to the president or say they are not in support. They want near man or muhiano. Namum kwanya or mafaso more yano. Yeah. It's not right. You understand? So for me, I think that strike they will be our home council. But a government that is 6 months old, that is my word. 6 months old. I will for me our negotiation, you know, was started with a government. Why is it a power? No, the government will need time to study the documents and see how the economic situation and conditions, you know, everything support those things. But if you don't do these things, now what may cost strike because you think that you can force God. No, it can't happen that. So that is why I am this whole thing exercise in bad faith. And I think that I'm so disappointed in the woman in charge. Yeah, maybe we know. I think that we need to pay particular attention to your emolument structure. You see, because of that happen on the political space. Because my classmates, me a doctor, me a surgery, a cashier or hospital. 12,000 Ghana cedis. I've seen my classmates be at the Ponkosubia or the party executive or China as any CEO. Allowance are urging in a month, no such me as a medical doctor. Me way. Yes, those things are there, but it's in Ghana becoming very overbearing. Oko baby esisi, but I had a yabro so. And ama obia fin any unso uno obia kasa omo compare allowances are leaders ninya. Oko parliamenta. Sika and Nama Mamfon Sasson, the Edugu bag him like you see, so people know that there is money. So if I'm a nurse and I'm risking my life, I also deserve that pound of flesh. But if we are able to restructure the emolument structure in such a way, say, baby obia no, I give you what you want. Yeah. Oko you can be a nurse here. Nanim mero be or mayor. Oko we no be a doctor. I will US. Nanim mero be or your friend saying senator. Because as a doctor working in a facility in America, the money I get, you know, is almost the same as even far larger. There is this Ghanaian plastic surgeon or US. The guy is a billionaire. The guy is a billionaire because he's a doctor. You understand? So such a person, oh, a senator or not, so that is what we need to do, just to ensure that people in this service, you know, young training and liberty, and also now poverty now, one we teacher near say what teacher need a crowd bobo na police for crowd there police for there na crowd on kwani am na single room na fridge ni na name prison officer crowd there bobo na fire there as a prison officer there am tell me can ho prison na fire the difference between prison officer and a prisoner I wall they are all living in prison. So yeah, I think say we need to look at in as much as the ekosuni nyina no in a broader stakeholder way. Let us look at the bigger picture na ye hu how efa so your salary structure ni ye sebe ya obia anibeso de oye. But I think say yes abebo but be unnecessary for nam na there. Some of the demands na we making are absolute rubbish. It's nonsense and no government on his right senses will agree. Obi be catch am say oh na say abandada na jitum because we are going to an election the other we obeja to mama. But in this real sense here, you will say the state of affairs here, petrol and so forth. We can't do that, you understand? But we should try to know who's the car, allowances and so forth, air cost of parliament. Yes, people will be peeved. So we need to do the politics where Sabaya, because Obia who here, nurses who here, because nurses in you can survive. Kakra your draw service, you see what is happening. And now, Abasia won't feel it. Now we yam kawa na adwene ye do kwa na obi na be hu say yes. So you see enti ye na ye make sure say baby obia wo bia no ye betua ne kai is the classmate am do mo wie Legon about 70% of munyina ko UK. I didn't know obeko because salary ni nya wa ha okoha anya hwe ne ma beko yama no some are in America nursing training can be classmate am 50%. They are in UK now. Why? Because the structure system here is very terrible and recognize it and give nothing. No answer when the move flat is ana one way out of now or life or no I don't know. You understand? Government must pay particular attention to workers. Police for more wins because it is bad.
Police need red line. Say red no. Any green no difference about one. Yeah. But I did green can you question that be a red? Now me say Upesika catch us say Mosca na where by force to say red abra. Me so many tria where who say green.
Yes, so
you see the frustration out there.
Yes, the frustration. So it's not a take it to poverty. So government must pay particular attention to some of these things, not making sure say you improve salary. Because I say ukoye politics all of a sudden now other VAT other way or the classmate who oh you see kind of moody. Ebi akwa na nya ban sika o. So, and I'm a politics in a comparative way. Now, people are getting exposed to some of these things. First, you know, who MP no officer a special person, and people have come to know. So, some of the people standing on the political side, some are even a wooden coin.
That's what Becca said. We know what
I say. So that veneration, respect, and that one is gone. So it's about salary. If you are taking this, I should take this. You understand? So I think see a restructure, a monument structure, and some of these things will not come up. And government should make sure say the risk allowance now for no must be universal across board. Now you fan to any fan salary no. Now you take away that power from people coming to meet government. We yane we no negotiate we are now we know. Hey now you be that by. What I say, and as a nurses and also bisa for BBA, they should ask for something important like this waiver on cars and then as a form. What I say, the near who here and the say, are they we and several other essentials. Now could be a funeral ground, could be a science allowance. It's absolutely nonsense. Oh,
all right, Rolly so. I some more. Say, Abusian say. Mama seremwa o mo de hye no beba mo nyini free interpol red list no mo yes enye e na amana na bi kura seke no furi atapa obetimi abaga na oba mo some mo so bomra obeba oba no anka say o say any right o say o ye lawyer o say no say solution nti wa seke no furi ata na ye pa ye nye dede ma ne mra oba kro kasa no right
Nana bi no o kan sa say me o yobi onim nyansa obahu say ampa kenoforata bana wa mie na no ankasa no right but silence no even a bigger statement be help in the prosecution. So sometimes you know and I'm kasa boom adwene na etachire na ya na ketwa bi because oba na omo friend no on kasa that alone no louder than even wakasa. What I said, I'm going to win mumu. What's a casa? Nasa was a one casa. Then court in the bachelor. All that they have to do is say, I see on casa, near the court. Then the court knows I was on casa. Yeah, on casa, then Yakasa was on casa and Timunya and Uncle Fie. Oh, I'm a casa, home. Yeah, I think. What's the politics on the egg that and these characters, your Mokasa say no, we are nursing doctor not here, know who and say, we didn't need this can so far. And I can't open a shaman for before. No, so I think it's serious. Can of Rata Busia for saying. Yeah, I think that yes, Obia or Kocaine as Ghana need to say anything. But you see, America say, answer I will do a nimbe kwakwaji dear nim no. You should always have your back against the wall. So people will not have questions to ask you. And to yes, I name it's good so Obia be fighting for the family member because a dean can for it and I'm sure say Interpol criminal nipa na no more that lesson so no. A drug syndicate where you just a criminal sir. Omo wanted within the international community and omo on your model list so it's on record and they didn't can for that and I link it back to a fear so definitely no you not take it kindly because a good man for any massive you understand so I think that it's okay so what is idea but you see the question maybe some who say enti sabi eniema hunu nana kenoforiata ye no krom ha sei no
yeah
na family no na omotiase ana mututu kwan ko China na Vietnam afa no aba no bete de ekoso when the nonsense was going on in this country no kenoforiata abusian for no mo Ghana na mo vacation na China so they didn't know they didn't read the papers they didn't know what was happening when the guy was foolishly borrowing you can't say na ontie when all use companies here to advise transactional advisors
Onua company
paying friends when the gentleman was aggressively no egu papa kwasi Indian banks and then as for enti family ni enhu nyansa nka say oya Ghana business wa fa Ghana for enti your family yesrew kane momo kwanya changes kwa na obeye at the supervisory realm na ye na kwasi Indian abie banka oye nipa adwuma yese hwan Asiedu Agongo abie adwuma our bank na ne problem nyina ne say or asem court and he cannot own a bank ya different in some egu ni bank Kenoforiata was the master planner behind some of these things when the guy was borrowing here and there corruption a Japan PDS deal ekoso recordings and na ni di wom omo check commission share na as for family no more so you see and America say you could draw a point and there is no shame in society I think they should just shut up and allow things to drive, you understand, because all come back and forth for motion no family should have been the first person to kick in na omonka ana special prosecutor no so definitely no on the medical condition here complicated and call family na man there adentina family na issue statement say say na cause there some man time who's the nipa nwene when the thing was back and forth now special prosecutor wanted answers the family did not write to the special prosecutor, they did not go there, but now yet not to Interpol red alert so you know free so no I was saying I messed that opportunity now that is when the family is getting the energy to say your friend say na Ghana for mu you know some with the family members sa kwasi head cut na say ye okrom ha pensioner de nisika Onua save nisika o say or the akoto government share no Kenoforiata ebubu omusika no kama papa no oni abusuani wawu osefom sa ye senche so hwan sa ye feze hotel kase bia wa papa no so no so awu omudo mu nebusuanfo ye ka bi mo onyeye these are shameless cowards say sometimes I make the politics na cheap and media meme hu sa statement na social media no na me free say be enkwasase me no be actual to social I didn't even know that nonsense will be coming from a family member because over the years you know ye nim dia koso okroma ya ansa na obetimi aka nsem bi say no the ekoso no esenka waka be pen because when Ghanaians were wailing you cannot say that people were complaining that Akuffo Addo no they were all NDC people Ghana for Messia Asofo bi or bank or say or koto government bond na che say ni sika nyina na odekokoya ade obobo siansa na ode didi enti oho na sa alert bi omutua some time ago bi a omo sanje no ebeto na account no ofre abanfo ode omo kan say oh we de nyame adom abeto account mu ade tia na pokoduru bank okwakoyi a omo san withdraw scan say by mistake enti obi a oye healthy Onua de ni sika agu no by force why yarefo
pressure
and the family ebimu wu sa Gold Coast we na kind way papa kwasi ndom ade na ode do you know the number of people musika wom omo ebi ma dana yarefo family no na mo wo hefa I think say sometimes there is no shame in obi aye niam hunu bia na ofa ne ho adi I am expecting say come back advises the special prosecutor say making sure say you don't witch hunt na mom emra ne nhyehyeye e wo ho no ye ba na ye tu no fo obedi so na ye ne na kasa say obeba eda sei na oba ye be make sure say the esamo ye bia no mo be ye say am no ka
we are okay na just say oh oni nyansafo na ke kasa
exactly that is what every normal human being will do yes and these are people as en kaye turu fuma ne yes anema no what I say say abrante ya kan say me say one na ye the masterpiece one puzzle now ye tutu ane ya hye no Kenoforiata is the masterpiece in the larger corruption puzzle now ye try to ye first say unravel in this country because am no ka say NIB any yoko for I open a separate investigation about the criminal dealings in this country. So for him, no first, no special prosecutor and one no. But say no, I double obviously a double salansa.
Yoko way. So I know the day no the gentleman is going to have a ride. So the early he comes and face whatever he's supposed to face and stop playing this I am sick card. I am sick, there be a country or you're ready. Obi yare I want to win Kasasi and I say. But the reality is when you be away bedridden, when you be away immobilized, I would have bed. So I say on to win to kind. According to sources, we been class of land and not say your fence about BD. And the pictures were circulating on social media. So when you be away at the house, I want to win and to win to win your way. Yes, sir. We are finance minister. So, Papa, I'll be more than happy enough to avail myself and answer. You understand? And that kind of what I saw. Abra no your finance minister. I'm saying who the TS is what Mr. Kwana Yara no na mon. We ask me Kocaine because he should resign for the health sake. Okay.
Mekai. If you them.
Yes. Because who know Tim so Yara at that time, you know, I was worried say even decisions no making were not out of reasoning because the guy was sick. At that time, no family no who say, oh, ya buy or yare. So on Kocaine China will be take over. MPP as a political party, MPs in parliament, you know, I said no, Ken. Abraba what the economy newborn and ya brabo papanti so he's in China every year. A free doctor now work we go to no find saying. There is this doctor or Kumasi.
And the appear could be.
No, but I could be or yet and the appear could be Baba Kubi Kumasi. Omuko to my primary solution ye. Or I don't say I'm a doctor. Or yeah, or tire interviews.
Yeah.
Oh, Menidina Mirafi. Ye two no and or tag grant interview. You could two no my and otifie. Because Okodi and you say, ye need kind of or a lawyer mum. Oh, okay. No, and the idea could be dying. Where Kumasi and Kasa?
Eugene now.
Yes, Eugene.
You are your doctor.
Oh, okay. Eugene and Sam America.
Eugene watch it.
Eugene watch it. Ye two no. Say what if you are no MP.
You say common from.
Yes, because of that, we no mudi any mu say kind of for that and sin change. Yes. Yes, only Andy we no. Ye to bunyina kwatena fie. So this is a brabo kind of for that ababo no kroma say. And near my branch we are no kroma say no. Say nya emra na ye adwuma no mudi ko sikejeti ana say makwala nka man na babu na kuno because of some decisions will take ya. It take a man for life away from them. This is the crimes even you can say it's alleged, but the consequences and the impact of these alleged crimes were visible, were very impactful. And the papa was indium. Obi oye your friends adwuma wura na wadan ya kawura. I'm told say na kra na ho nya de oyare. This is a businessman or creative business there.
Over 3,000.
Yes, and there is no business that was as a challenge, or even more challenge or but yet a challenge or hands, you know, what as a company, that is how I run it. So you as an overseer, no, you have to re-engineer plan, and until we lead a Nyansa team, you engineer plan just to ensure somebody navigate it through. Sabaya nipa benye jumaya. Yet the Timodin gugu sa nyuma we nyina guye. And majority of people Kocaine fear. And that time so obia kisu brana be you are out there talking nonsense witch hunting and or yare no yes na bra no yare na no na onfa finance minister na yemfa ntu amana secretariat na yensesa yesika na was he not borrowing so I think the family should give us a break. Some of this nonsense, this emotional crusade, no, will not fly in the face of reasoning, in the face of logic. Because Ghana, they lived through the Kanaforata era. They saw what happened, they experienced it. Some lost their parents, some lost their uncle, some lost their wife, some lost their fortune. And the doings of this gentleman. Branabe, you are not come and answer. That is up to us, you understand? So I think that the special prosecutor must do whatever it takes. I'm happy to say the Attorney General has started processes just to ensure that the extradite team it's going to be a bit complicated, but family no one can and your special prosecutor and also command. They should write to Kenoforata. Say and your special prosecutor and no. I Ghana for no. Opa say me declare say baby who Kenoforata biano mfana man kaba Ghana for wo abrochom kwakọ hwe the number. Because do not the sikaba kroma Kenoforata anti sikana kam. They are angry and peeved. Man for better than about Kruma say. That is how I'm a bravo number boy, no. I'm a Ghana for you peeved and angry about the way they did their thing. So for me, I think that family needs to just shut up. And Merenes or Mokasano, I come because Abrana near Mahunu Kosono. That was the time I sang Commodium Jim. No mutu more for Siano for Abrana or take those and Quasia decisions in a Ghana Coboy, no. But I know my boy, baby, trying to pick the pieces together. Sabi a bit me coming back. then bringing your voice to the conversation. I think they should give us a break.
Well, it's all.
Once again, the chronic oh, say, 24 great grandma, say, me too fine, teacher man. Now, can we forget to share the brass organ? I'm a kind. I predicted today. Say, the bedroom baby. Mobabe, the reason why I was say, a buying a bebano, a benyesika, a dear to Ghana football. Now, you're the above mine home. So I said, can you be a woman be a toilet? Almost last year, from 2017 January, now no more year, veteran, one the Minister for Finance. Sabre me talk about Parliament say, can Uforiata does not qualify to be a finance minister. Dedi kai, ne nguma suamu sensem no training. Anya no credit say Okoye University bia anya no credit.
I wonder fraud there.
Akuffo should the movie scam.
Say can Uforiata or any better qualification as far as finance or whatever is concerned, economics is concerned, we need any better qualification there. Everything he provided to the panel was false. And Suhini Busa the question. And prior to Suhini the question, you know, now I think was it Suhini now that said Busa they say, does he have accounts in tax havens? Tax haven, yeah, baby. Who are one person who bet you at one man? Who do you seek a cosie? Senebaya avoided taxes. Mainly. 2. Obi Owa or Sikabia or person would be Gani and now this see ne man for. And now on mine, and also ultimately this capo. Now, Oyobia only the first criminal in my way in this Fourth Republic. Obu abain Rollins abain till Rollins abain obu Rollins abain faso Satanu fi Liberia Abagana Oni Johnson Sirleaf na no ye president
yeah maame bi
ewo Liberia no sa data bank no oni maame no ne bie ye eti maame no had I think a higher percentage shares plus some other friends of his omo nyina no more Liberia o call Liberia e dey no the freaking ye maame on the phone. Now, Odi dream one, my dream no could do better. So say on this net, koto, kese, say opesu CCR dying, Emma net workers. Now, to say a free fire, IK champion,
yeah,
AKA for Otumfo golf. Yeah, we see estates the big Wagana ha, the subi mada. Senya Saglema, the champion is still holding the record. Now, that time now, no, yet, Sadiano. And Pennyphobic could be a friend. People's Movement for Freedom and Justice, PMFD. Now, the boy, a champion, yes, I know money now. It is Sadiano, and now also so, I could fast say, template me. Rollins abain mo mas net mami sika na me fancy estates ahodo pi estate na
sika no so e
dan wan sase no okodi asase no o se man so aba asase no nti sika $12 million obi an Google obotan
yeah
obotan
I read through
oh yeah criminal look. Say a cable meza 10 and what 10 is say one way to take phone or no yabef. KG na make KG na make can na can for that na ye. And one Alex Daddy now o free Akupfo Addo mi ano no. And one no ye. Everything they did is criminal. Pot kohwe and now pa pot them a pot. Ne kohwe ade a e koso what them a pot. Because omo je port adwuma ni free aban nsem GC net na aban wo percentage wo mu ana GC net dey here adwuma about 35%. They took all aban percentage in the adwuma ne ko baby a friend Unicom and then busobia wo temaport Unicom enye adwuma me bomachi madam for broni bi or a Brazilian
yeah pay up in 2 minutes
and odi adwuma baaye say obia odi ne nyoma frama no ne ba bia no e wo say ye ma aban hu in advance ade a wo ship free country ne so di abaga na hantie free bibi advance shipment information now embedded in advance shipment information or the tracking account ah ye be tracking cargo no say ne bia obia ne ma nyira wo high seas onyoma bedru Ghana enyira petie the tracking account tie free bibi cargo tracking note na kenoforiata ne akwa bi e friend Coleman o mako sign contract aye company bi e friend CTN Ghana Limited ajeje importer sika di omo wie ya omo gu company no we nyina hye ne tuo we kra me fan koy o enka ho afi na mde no
afi na ade no be ko
eti eka kenoforiata asemo a abusua no omo ho ye me fere say omo di omo anu betum na omo di omo anu tum incapacity as what say abusia ben omo free he omo ye hwanom omo ye ni pata Ghana ni ben abusia ben papa ben abusia papa ben because this is abusia mu be ka che ye say ye ya beifo ma
yes
criticize
ya criticize Akuffo Addo kronfo tutubotom ni balawo say wo di e-levy atutu ye botom wo ye fon so ade ye fon adani galamsey site tu galamsey wo ye fon so yakoka enti omo kuro mu hine ne say yen ye ya beifo ma yen na wo hwe beifo ba na ka wo hwe onu na ni na hwe ye animu a wo na say beifo ba wo de hwe na nim na hwe ye nim kenoforiata nim hwabusu ani nyina hwe omo nim na hwe yen a ye kasai hwe ye su anim na wo na say beifo ba abusu we ana omo ye den sebi nkamu tunefo tete ni ye ma ne bobra pa
all right 30 seconds
and na tell ye busua so sorry say atell yi no so ye nyana ye ajeja no
ne eja
from força
okay
what be finance minister wia sika kogu busua no mu di sa na Akuffo Addo papa be ye mampani just for 1 year 5 months hwe kro no obo ye ship kura potimi yira ship 1 year 5 months o bokro no
ba from say dia farmer so na
we are your son we are ma and Akuffo Addo atoy Japan nyina including hotel no ohu de Nyankopon eye say oba ba mu nu asa akodi hotel na yeso onu showHeated general for o ma Charles ni na ye hotel keke o so asema ekoso no abusua ni ntwomu mfim na munya abusua papa bia nchanga na ni bia abusua ni the best we can describe you is a very intolerable family akwonfo abusua ya ma be wia ma regabi hwede gabi ayo man hwe kofi asante be di etu hwede na nkopo aye no hwede na yare aye no wo bibi ka mo kosere nyame na mo so tin na ma aye
medas
we am boyfo pa nyankopon be tua mo ka
thank you very much